everybody. Welcome to the 4Player podcast. I'm Brad, and I'm here with Nolan.
How's it going, everybody?
And Crispy.
Hey, what's up?
With special guest, Mr. Yakuza.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me.
One of these days, you're going to hate that everybody knows you as the Yakuza guy.
It was funny. Last time I was on here, I was like the retro gaming one, and then this week I'm
I know.
the Yakuza one. Like 80% of my Twitter is Yakuza stuff. So it makes sense.
I've noticed.
Yeah. Dude, Sega ought to be paying me money, dude.
By the way, it's February 2nd, and this is episode 490.
Oh, we usually say those things?
Yes, we do.
490?
Yes, 490.
490 episode second. Do you also have feedback, Nolan?
No.
Fuck it, then. We'll just start talking about... Well, Jack.
Brad?
What is the next thing you're going to get into? Because I feel like this Yakuza phase is going to pass and it's going to be something weird and random, and all you're going to be talking about is like fucking...
Gran Turismo or something?
Like, yeah, something like that. Definitely something like that.
Dude,
I'm really into Wipeout. That's all I want to play.
Dude, Wipeout
I'm
is
building
awesome.
Wipeout models.
What are you talking about? I know what you mean. I get like an obsessive personality over a certain series at certain times. When something new's coming out that I really want to get, I just kind of obsess over it, I guess. And brand new Yakuza game came out. I'm all over it. I have been all over it for the last like 6 months. I played it like 2 years ago in Japanese, and everyone seems to be liking it, and feels really cool.
Well, let's fucking talk about Yakuza 0 then.
Okay. I was going to pull up some feedback.
Oh, well, before we talk about Yakuza, we have some feedback that we're going to talk about in a couple of seconds. Hey, no, but seriously, Jack, seriously. What is this TV any good?
Dude, that's fine. Have you tried light guns on it?
No, but I mean, it's an old TV, right? It's not a
right, but
projection.
it's one of the flat CRTs.
Yeah, I don't...
But the flat CRTs are some like hit and miss. Some of them work, some of them don't. But at the same time...
I think it's like a 2006.
It probably worked fine.
The picture's not perfect. I'm still on the lookout for like the perfect TV. Dude, I went over to Carlos's the other day.
The pictures were never perfect.
Yeah, well, maybe. I mean, it's a little warped. I guess very minor. I went over to Carlos's the other day, and my God, this man, he stumbled into. I think his neighbor gave it to him. He has like maybe like a 36-inch,
like 300
like
pound
Sony Trinitron, and it looks like it has. Like the last one they made before they stopped making those.
Dude, they were making them up to like 2006 time. Like some of them even have like HDMI on it.
Yeah,
it's pretty insane.
I don't want a TV that large though, because those things are too heavy.
No, that's a fine size. You said that's like what, 21 or 22 or something?
I think that's like 20-inch.
Yeah, that's a fine size. Actually, I'd rather have that size personally.
Everything there hooked up, ready to go.
Yeah, you get like a switcher box.
Up top.
Nice.
Yeah, this is the new style podcast where we talk about things in the room.
Yeah. So there wasn't a whole lot of feedback from last week.
You need to do like a Patreon behind the scenes thing where you see all this stuff.
We've done some stuff.
That's good.
There was one bit of feedback from King Carey about Resident Evil 7. Rented it and had a blast playing through it, like I did myself. Says a much needed breath air after Resident Evil 6. But big gripe was they should have called it Louisiana Simulator 2017 instead of Resident Evil 7, which to an extent I kind of understand. I mean,
it takes place in Louisiana, right?
Yeah. So, but it seems like, I mean, I guess that's kind of part of the game is playing it, but just you're in like a swamp with a bunch of hillbillies, kind of.
I feel like that's a fucked up view of Louisiana. I have family in Louisiana, and they're not fucked up hillbilly killers. They're nice.
They are in Hitman.
That's just that.
But yeah, that's all the feedback we have. Is that
really?
Well, I mean, there were some other ones, but they were more like questions, not really comments on. There was Haste was talking about because you were talking about Evo with Melee being there.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I know nothing about that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. there was big controversy this year because Melee didn't make the main stage, but Smash Brothers 4 did.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's saying, although Melee is a main Evo game this year, it actually is not in the main stage on Sunday. Like the other main games, Melee will have finals on Saturday, while Smash 4 takes the stage on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is it's in the big arena. Like they kind of go all out now, and it's like
what's Smash 4? Is that like the Wii one
for Wii U?
No, the most recent one.
It's
Okay.
called Super Smash Brothers for Wii U.
Yeah.
So they just started
Creative.
calling it Smash 4?
Yeah, because I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
know,
a
yeah,
stupid
yeah.
name.
Smash, Wii Smash?
I can't believe the official title includes for this system.
Yeah.
Well, they've been doing that since 64 or even Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
so-
but
they
whatever.
they
Just say
used to
Smash
call
Wii
it-
U.
They just
Don't
call
say
it like, yeah.
like the official title is Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U.
It's
and
the-
they have
the-
one.
the-
Them putting
yeah.
Super in front of everything for the Super Nintendo sounded cool.
And
Yeah.
64,
Super,
though?
yeah, like Super Metroid, Super Star Wars.
64 is
Super
kind of
Empire.
shitty, though.
That was
Yeah.
the sickest shit.
And then like everything was 64 at the end, for that made sense. This is just like
And then you had
name
Zelda,
of a franchise
Zelda Cube.
for Wii U, which is dumb.
Guys, this is like way off topic, but I still think the freshest, dopest, sickest, like, damn, you nailed it. Sequel title of all time was Missplosion Man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's
from,
so sick.
from Mr. Explosion Man.
Well, no, it was just
It's
Splosion.
just
Oh,
Explosion
just
Man.
Mr.
yeah.
Explosion?
No, just
No, it was
Explosion.
just Splosion Man,
Sure,
and then they
Mr. Explosion.
Correct.
that
Just
defeats the
Explosion.
whole coolness of the Pac-Man Miss Pac-Man thing.
Right, Explosion Man, Miss Explosion
Okay.
Man.
It's
So since Brad just kind of hauled off on the podcast,
Yakuza.
sorry, I was literally sleeping. So just a couple of things that have been going on recently. Pretty much all of our Game of the Year content's out, minus the highlight. Correct? The highlight video. Our game.
Oh,
our
also the
community
game
video.
of the year as voted by the community. is also
the
not
community
out.
one's not out yet. Our Game Award podcast just got posted. The video of that, but the other ones are still on their way, still coming out.
Dude, there's some good picks on some of those lists.
Oh, yeah, there definitely are.
Not obscure necessarily, but less unexpected.
Yeah,
I mean, it was looking back, like reflectively, it was a great year. Really good year.
Don't forget that our
video games.
our Discord, discord.gg/4player is public. Anybody can go in there and chat with us, have a good old time. A bunch of people just joined the past day. So yeah, just hop in there, chat with us, have some fun. And then also don't forget iTunes. We used to say it a lot, but recently we stopped saying it. But if you haven't, you just leave us a review on iTunes. It only takes a few seconds. It helps us out, though. It gets
Preferably
our,
a positive review.
whatever you
Would be
want.
nice.
I mean, yeah, a positive review would be nice. But if you have some anything you want to say, just be like, hey, I don't like that British guy. He comes on the show sometimes, and I'm just kidding.
I get a lot
Everyone
worse
loves
than that.
Jack.
Help us get back to the front page of the podcast section.
Yep. But yeah, that's all the whatever. We can talk about Yakuza 0 now, Brad.
Thank you, Nolan.
Your reigns are.
Well, I
free.
mean, if someone didn't mention that stuff, then people might not actually do whatever the thing is you said.
Yeah.
Brad clearly didn't listen to it.
I wonder how many reviews on iTunes we've had lately. Do people still use iTunes?
Yeah, some people
yeah.
do.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
You still have to use it to like pretty much do anything with your data app
Yeah.
or
Is that
put
true?
data stuff
Pretty
from your
much,
phone,
yeah.
phone and everything,
Yeah.
right?
Garbage.
That's why my iPhone has nothing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez. Hey.
Yeah, Yakuza
What
0.
is this
Wait.
footage?
Let me wait before we launch into this. Crispy,
Yeah.
did you play any of this since last time we talked?
No.
Man,
I had.
But didn't I get on my knees and beg you?
have
his
you
mouth.
have you not even met Majima
I
yet?
started 2 new classes this week. I haven't played anything except for the stream I did last
Classes,
night.
not
I haven't.
job classes, right?
Like D&D classes, like you started a new bard and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Oh, like actual real world classes. Fair enough.
yes,
Fair enough.
Chris is in school.
But I would like it if you could find some game time to play some of this. I'm just scared. I'm horrified
like
you're
it
gonna
too.
stop playing.
I would like it too. I just.
Hey, can I borrow your
Just
copy?
let me just.
At least
If
meet
you're not gonna play
Majima.
it.
At least get up to Majima. He's like
Just
chapter
let me-
2 or 3.
Well, since you're the only
Well, I've got
person,
to be close to chapter 2.
Yeah. The thing is, there's 2 chapters for each character. It rotates
Oh, I
every 2 chapters.
was wondering. I was wondering how they.
Yeah,
handled it.
kind of
they haven't even-
seamlessly leading into this whole thing. The marketing for this game, even back when it came out in 2015 in Japan, I felt was kind of misleading in a way. All the promotions, all the trailers you see show Kiryu and Majima doing all that crazy stuff they do and shows their story and everything. Never once in the game do they actually meet. Like their story, the plot surrounding each of their own issues overlap, but the characters themselves never actually meet.
so they meet for the first time in
Really?
Yakuza 1.
Which is a really interesting twist, because usually when another YouTuber pointed this out, usually when prequels come out, the story seems to almost feel obligated to retroactively find a way to
conflate these
mix
two
them together.
storylines.
But it shows restraint when they don't do that, and they actually still pull it off in a really interesting way to where you have two different stories going on at the same time, but like I said, they don't really meet. Think kind of almost like a Pulp Fiction kind of thing.
Right.
Where you got different story threads flying around
yeah.
everywhere, but they don't actually. The characters don't really overlap each other themselves.
Until Bruce Willis kills John Travolta.
What?
Spoiler alert.
No.
Spoilers for like
no
21-year movie, 21-year-old movie.
You know what? No forgiveness for anyone who's not watched Pulp Fiction yet.
That's true. That is true. So, yeah. I don't even know where to begin with this.
Jack, well, no, I have a question for Jack. Definitely our resident Yakuza expert. I don't think anyone else here has ever even played a Yakuza game. I'm fucking kidding. Calm down, killer. Jesus Christ. Jack,
we knew you were kidding. We just wanted to know where you were going.
I have never played a Yakuza game. It has always been on my backlog of things. Brad has always talked so highly of them. Then he got... Did Brad get you into the series? Is that how you got in, or were you already into it?
I was already into it.
Okay, I couldn't
I've been a big
remember.
champion of this series since I started with 3.
Oh, okay.
I was always interested in trying it when the first one came out, 2005.
Yeah.
But I just got sidetracked with other stuff and never got onto it. I actually picked up Yakuza 3 on PS3. It was part of like a buy one get one deal at GameStop one time.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wanted, I picked up what I wanted, and then I couldn't find anything else, and I just saw Yakuza 3. I'd always heard about the series. I picked it up blind buy, ended up playing it a lot more than what the original game I went to go pick up was. I can't even remember what that was now. And since then, just fell in love with the series and have since gone back and played literally everyone in the series, import and not, except with the exception of the 2 PSP games, which I've played little bits of.
Yeah.
I heard, especially that first one wasn't so great.
It's by the Def Jam guys. It's really random, dude.
Wait, the Def Jam guys, that's
Japanese.
the wrestling guys. That's
I mean, it's a good fit.
Like
It's a good
Def
fit.
Jam Fight for New York?
Like the same guys were involved with the PSP Yakuza
I'm
games.
pretty sure that's the guys that make like wrestling games. So
I don't know, but it kind of goes hand in hand when you think about it.
So anyway, back to my question. I've always been interested in Yakuza games. There's always something I've looked at and I'm like, damn, that looks like a good fucking game. But I've never played one. And it's mainly because I'm daunted by them. I'm daunted because I know if I start playing them and I like them, I'm going to want to be like you and play all the other games. And that's just going to be, it's not a game I'm going to play for 20 hours. It's gonna be a game that turns into a series that I play for hundreds and hundreds of hours. And that, in our position,
It's
can be daunting.
overwhelming.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, because it sucks. Like, like right now, this week, I didn't play Yakuza 0. I didn't play Tales of Berseria. I played Persona 4.
I would say if you've got a passing interest in the game, but I mean, look at where we're at right now. We were discussing this before the podcast. So much stuff that we're all anticipating coming out in the next couple of weeks, months, going on ahead. You know damn well that you're going to be playing Neo. You know you're going to be playing Horizon, Persona, all that kind of stuff. I feel personally you would be doing yourself a bit of a disservice or the series a disservice if you was to start playing this right now.
If I was to start playing it now?
Well, no.
this is a great place to
No,
start.
the series is a good... No, I'm saying the game is a good place to start. I'm saying right now, in his position, with all this other stuff coming out, you need to kind of commit to this kind of game, I think. Because it's not something that you can just kind of play in like 10-minute bursts. You've got to kind of sit down and dedicate some time to it. And if you don't think you can do that, I would suggest not playing it at all until you have that time. Because I feel like you have got to commit to this series, or at least not the series, but just this game.
And so in that regard, I thought, this might be a great place for me to jump in, get my feet wet. And
as far as the series goes, this is probably the best place to start out, for the simple reason that it's got the single most cohesive story in the entire series, as far as I'm concerned. And having played every one of these in the series, there is so much baggage. If you was to jump into even 3 or 5, as it was like free on PlayStation Plus, I know a lot of people started with 5.
I got it when it was free, so I have access to it.
A lot of people liked it, but there is still so much series baggage and convoluted plot threads that they expect you to be like a scholar of the series regarding certain plot events that happen in 5 that get talked about from the very original game. This being said, as a prequel and having no baggage, it's a perfect place to start. The only problem is, I mean, the common question is, that I hear from people is, can I start with the Yakuza 0? Yes. Absolutely 100%. The harder thing to deal with is that if you like this, you're going to be going back and playing games that aren't as good.
Well, I mean, do you even... So, like, the next game that comes out is the remake of 1, right?
It's Kiwami, yeah. That's
So what if someone, maybe takes a more healthier approach to playing through a series, Jack? Not try to do an entire Yakuza series in one weekend, like you. But what I'm saying is, if he played Yakuza 0 and enjoyed it, he's like, cool, I'm just going to wait until Kiwami comes out.
Yeah, pick up Kiwami.
And then maybe go right to 6. I mean...
No. You would not go to 6.
Don't you fucking do that.
No. You do not want to go to 6.
Dead Souls. Go to Dead Souls.
Oh my god. Dude, that's not as... Like, I've thought more fondly of that game replaying it after playing the other games in the series.
Yeah, because it's silly. But
it's just a love letter to the fans. That's all that is. But the thing
I think he can enjoy 0 and he can enjoy Kiwami. And he doesn't have to play the other games.
Until they announce Kiwami 2. Because the thing, that's the bit of the dead spot in the whole series is number 2. 2 is not available on PlayStation now. Obviously, it's out of print. It's super expensive. And it doesn't emulate too good from what I understand. It's the most hard to get in the series. And apparently it is. It's one of the best in the series.
Well, I mean, I got a copy. So you could just...
So you're good. Okay, you're good.
But what I'm saying is as far as the connection between all the games, it is just the main story that is, maybe hard to follow. Like, maybe it'd be hard to jump into Yakuza 6's main storyline and know what's going on. But there's a lot to enjoy in this series outside of that main, all the threads that connect back to the previous games. I mean, I'm sure he could play like 6 when it comes out, still enjoy a lot about what's happening in the main story, from moment to moment. But also, like all the fucking side quests in this game have nothing to do with from one game to another, but those are still like fucking amazing.
You can have a lot of fun outside of the plot, except, especially with number 6, I can say this having played 6, it is like the Metal Gear Solid 4 of the series. There is so many freaking cutscenes. It is insane.
You think this one is worse than the others?
As far as cutscenes go?
Yeah. So Jack, a question to that.
No, probably not as bad as I think 5.
You said it's the Metal Gear Solid 4 in terms of there's
Number
a lot of cutscenes. Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I liked Metal Gear Solid 4. Didn't love it. I mean, I liked it, but I think that's because I had a fondness for the series.
Well, you already had context of what was
going on. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. If I were to play 6 without enough context, would it just be like a boring mess to me?
You would start bear in mind, I've only ever played the Japanese copy of 6.
Calm down, killers. I'm not saying I want to start with 6. I'm saying I want to start with this. And you're saying that's a good place to do.
Absolutely.
Okay. Then I definitely, before the end of the year, I want to play this game.
And you really should. I mean, the series has always had this weird kind of... It's always flirted between being super serious and super crazy, and most of the material that people have been seeing that tries to sell them on the game has been more of the wacky stuff, right?
Sure. But I know it's not just that.
That's literally
I
just
understand
one half of it.
I understand it's not just that. I know.
But that's always been one of the things that's I found has been so great about it. It's classic Sega in as much as its gameplay is extremely gameplay focused and over the top and crazy and arcadey as shit, and then yet the crime narrative drama is pretty serious. Like it's dark. This one especially is pretty brutal as far as some of the stuff that goes on, and seeing how they make no attempt to kind of justify some of the crazy shit that goes on, it just makes it even that much more weird. But whereas some games can't really pull it off, this one seems to do it effortlessly. Now, Brad was talking about the mini games. There are a shit ton in this one. This has probably got the best mini games in it. 5 has probably the most content, but 0 has the best quality, I feel.
Okay.
And it's not just the mini games, though. I mean, all the mini games have their own like sub stories attributed to them. Like you go to the telephone club, and you're basically like on a phone sex hotline.
Nice.
It's completely optional. Bear in mind. So you get these phone calls, and all of a sudden it's almost like a.
This is in 0?
Yeah, this is all in 0. Very much a stripped down rail shooter in a way, in as much as you'll have a thing that a subject that you'll be talking to the woman about, and you'll have like 4 or 5 tiles flying around with your response, and so you got to aim your reticle over it, charge up like the telephone deal, and then it will fire a beam into what you want to say, and you say what you want to say. That in itself is the mini game, and you can have there's some hilarious responses in there. But then, so you do that. If you win, if you want to call it that, that leads into a sub story when then you can meet the girl or whatever. Which there's several sub stories I believe attributed to that one mini game alone. I chatted this one woman, and she said, "Yeah, let's meet. I want to go on a date and everything. Let's go bowling and everything." So I go over there, and all of a sudden she goes, I'm going to be in like a purple dress. So you go over there. And there's like 5 women in purple dresses, and it's the whole pick what you want. One of them's a dude, and it gets really, really insane. The sub stories on Zero especially are pretty damn out there. It's probably got the best humor of the series. I mean,
God damn,
you just got to really
how it's one of those things where when I look at Yakuza games and I've seen it seems like there's so much you can do. Like you're saying, I didn't even know there was a phone sex line in this game. How many like hours of content do you think are in this game?
So someone I know that's been playing through the story.
Yeah.
There's 17 chapters. He did it in I think 20 hours.
That's not bad.
And that's pretty much just blasting through the story, doing what you got to do.
Yeah.
I've put on the English one alone, I've put like 38 hours into it. I'm on chapter 10.
So you're a little over halfway.
Right.
So you could say maybe close to like 60, 70 hours somewhere.
Right.
around
Well, on the
there.
Japanese one, I put 50 in, and that's without understanding a word of what was going on. So
You probably don't want to just blast through it though, because
no, that's what I'm
that's
saying.
watching a lot of cutscenes.
That's why I
running to
asked.
a point.
I didn't ask, hey, how quick can I finish this
Yeah.
game? Because it's not a game that I want to just blast through. It's a game that I want to sit down and like find these
such a funny game, dude.
find these side quests and do this stuff, because a lot of the times that's a lot of quality content is there.
But
And
the thing is, these games, I can't say they're particularly made well. They are so flawed in almost just about everything that they attempt. But yet, I can't quite put my finger on it, but it comes off more as charming than anything. It has that kind of almost like a small studio vibe to it. It's really strange. I mean, they're kind of low budget games, but I don't know.
It's probably because they make like one a year.
Yeah, they've got an iterative,
they can't afford to like.
They've got an iterative design
Yeah.
philosophy for sure, and in its gameplay and everything. That shows throughout the whole series. That pretty much every installment has got better.
An example
its
would
mechanics.
be that like there's different conversation styles, and like what you're seeing right now is not even voiced.
No,
Which is weird. Like you would not see that in a modern game. Like that's very.
yeah, there's a lot of text to these games.
But at the same time, there's more voice acting than you'll see in most games. So it's like more voice acting and more text, but at the same time, and it's not just. And there will be scenes where it'll go from like fully CG animated cutscene to like some voice work to like no voice work back to
to almost like a kind of
There's one. They'll
comic
do
strip
one.
like they do on Bayonetta.
Yeah,
kind
they'll
of
do
thing.
like slideshows.
Yeah,
But
that's one. I
But
do have
the
criticism about that.
weird part is that it'll go back and forth constantly
Yeah, and it isn't very
So
consistent in
weird.
that regard.
within the same scene sometimes.
Zero is the worst for that. I will say.
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah, like what?
Do you
what
think
Chris
this
was
one had
saying-
like a lower budget than like say 5?
Dude, I remember specifically the scene where
No, I'd say it's probably high
where
budget.
Kiryu finds out that the dude he shook down in the very beginning of the game died is like him and his buddy in a restaurant, and it comes on the news. And in that scene, which takes like 15 minutes, it goes between CG, in-engine with voice, in-engine without voice,
and then the comic
and
kind of thing.
comic like slideshows.
wow.
Yeah.
And it's all just the two of them sitting at a fucking table.
See, I don't think that's a particularly good way to tell a story.
Yeah,
personally.
I
I wish
agree.
it was more consistent.
like one or two different styles is one thing, but having like that many different.
I don't understand the whole
styles
slideshow thing.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest.
Isn't 6 like all voiced?
Pretty much, I think so. Yeah, I can't recall.
I
many
thought 6 was like
instances.
the first time that they're finally getting rid of the text boxes.
Yeah, I can't recall much just text at all, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, this one, I don't mind reading all text. I mean, I've played. Well, you know more than anybody about playing JRPGs, reading a lot of text.
Yeah.
The one thing that I will give this game a lot of credit for is translation. You probably know better than anybody. A good translation can make a good game an excellent game. If it's been well translated, they get all the honorifics right and all the way that people speak down good. This game has that. I mean, that's because you got Atlas translating it.
Yeah.
It's not a chore to read everything.
No, I mean,
It's like it.
but it's fun. It's fun how they
it's well written, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah,
they
it's well
translated
written.
it well enough that it's not like, I don't know. It's not some like It's not some Eastern localization company localizing.
There's
it
definitely a
for
distinct
Western
drop in
release.
quality between playing, like, say, Yakuza 3, 4, or 5, and then playing this. Because it was just Sega that localized 3, 4, 5, I believe. I think 5 as well.
Oh, so you think this one's localized better?
This is localized excellent.
Oh, wow. So
I mean,
that excites me.
Yeah, this is localized brilliantly. Like I said, they got the Atlas guys doing it, which is, well, I mean, they're obviously really good for translating. I mean, the same guys that translated this are translating Persona. I mean, which is, as I understand, pretty good for how they do all their translating and stuff. But it does make a big difference. I will say that. And as far as like certain other criticisms I've heard some criticisms about the graphics and stuff. You know, two things. One, it's a 2-year-old game. Number one, and number two, this was also a PS3 game in Japan only, which a lot of people seem to keep forgetting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said, it kind of has this whole. It feels like a small studio made it, and for that reason, I don't know. It feels like an intimate experience. I don't know. It's hard to explain it. But as far as where this sits as my personal favorite in the series, it definitely.
It's your favorite?
Absolutely.
Oh.
It was my favorite in the series when I played the Japanese one.
So maybe in an effort to move on, I will say that I will be starting this finally tomorrow morning.
You, as someone that's played the other ones, will love this one. And I know your
My favorite
criticisms.
is 2, but
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much everybody's fan favorite is 2.
Yeah.
This is starting to become like the replacement for that. Your criticisms usually lie with the combat, right? Like, as far as it's not evolved too much.
Yeah.
This it's got a lot more depth to it than the past games, so I'll say that.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
I mean, there's like various fighting stances.
Yeah.
and stuff, so
I mean,
excited.
like I said, I've put like 30 odd hours into it. I'm in chapter 10. I'm starting to build up my real estate stuff. You know,
Real estate.
Yeah, so both characters have their own like big side story. With Kiryu, it's a real estate business where you can go around certain parts of Kamurocho and buy the business, and then that in itself is its own property management mini game where you assign managers, which are people that you meet on your sub stories, which are completely optional. So if you like, I did a sub story that involved the greaser dude, one on this very cutscene right here. I did this sub-story, which, as Crispy knows, is completely optional. You don't have to do it. It just kind of happens, and you can help him or not. Obviously, you help him out. You do the mission and everything. You get your real estate business up and running, and then all of a sudden, you go by your business one day, and he's just standing outside, and you chat to him, and he's like, "Oh, yo, can I just join? You're going to help you out?" And he's like, "Yeah." Help him out, and he becomes like a manager or an advisor or whatever.
Yeah.
The most famous one for Yakuza 0 from the Western release goes is the chicken. There's been a chicken that
I've seen some tweets. Yeah.
Yeah, so in the bowling alley, besides the actual bowling minigame in of itself, which is it's basic but it's pretty fun, every time you speak to the woman to buy the the bowling alley and rental and everything, her friendship level will go up. As that friendship level goes up, she might say, "Oh, we got a prize coming up if you get if you get a turkey, which is supposedly 3 strikes in a row." Or
Sure,
something.
yeah, turkey, yeah.
So
Have you never bowled before?
I've never bowled before.
Really?
Well, I've bowled before, but not competitively. I don't know the terms or anything.
You don't have to be competitive to know that 3 strikes
I
is
don't
a
know.
turkey.
Man.
All right, anyway.
I know 300's a perfect game, but
Yeah.
so you get your turkey. You go up to the counter, and the woman's like, "Okay, congratulations, you won your turkey. I'll be right back." And she places a chicken on the counter.
Yeah.
And Kiryu's just looking at it like, what is this shit? He goes, it's a chicken, not a turkey. She turns around and goes, "Well, we can cook it for you if you just want to eat it right here."
What?
And he goes, "No, I'll take it home with me.
Yeah.
I'll name it Nugget." And so he takes the chicken, and all of a
Chicken
sudden
nugget?
it's like, yeah, the chicken's name's Nugget, and all of a sudden it says rental. He turns into an advisor for your rental business. So all of a sudden now you've got a chicken that's like a financial advisor. It's pretty fucking
Dude, that's
weird.
amazing.
Sub-stories involving a very shy dominatrix.
God damn it, that makes me want to play this game.
So like you meet
so much
this
more.
dominatrix outside a club, and she's talking to her client, and the client's wanting to be abused and all the rest of it, and she's just being so polite and innocent and everything. Kiryu walks up, he's like, "Can I help you out? What you seem like you're having trouble and everything." So naturally, she takes him to a children's park, and they just go over banter back and forth and everything. And then you got kids that walk up wanting to know what they're playing and why she's dressed the way she is.
Yeah.
Then you go back to her lair, and it's fucking weird. And he's hiding behind a wall as a client comes in, and he notices.
Who's hiding? Kiryu?
Yeah, he's hiding behind.
He's
this wall.
like feeding her lines.
Yeah. And then her client walks through, and then they're just kind of going back and forth. Just lots of little hijinks.
Yeah.
And so as you do all these side stories, those characters involved come back to help you out with your property management business if you want them to be on there. With
That's
Majima, it's managing your hostess clubs, which is basically it's a bit more of a complicated version of Diner Dash.
Okay.
That's basically what that is. I mean, besides customizing your own women and stuff like that, which is...
I like customizing my women.
Yeah,
Who doesn't?
right? Dress them up and everything.
Jack, we have to stop talking about
Dude,
Yakuza.
I can't...
And it's only because we have very big games to talk about.
Play this game.
Well, I'm playing it in the morning. I totally intended to get Nolan on board with this
I
series
know Nolan
as
loved
well.
this game.
I just didn't want to do Nolan and Crispy at the same time, and I was hoping that Crispy would kind of help me get Nolan into it, which he'll get there. We'll get there. But by the end of the year, all of us are going to have Yakuza in our top 10, except Nick. He's weird. He'll have like a Far Cry game on there. That's fine.
That's fine.
I heard Far Cry 5 rumored today, I think.
Did you hear this game was selling out?
Yeah, I did. But again, they probably didn't ship that many.
Sure. It's a good sign.
Hopefully this will be the Fire Emblem awakening of the Yakuza series, and all of a sudden the West will start caring. But
All right.
I finally started Resident Evil 7.
Did you finish it or just start it?
I did not finish it.
Okay.
But I probably played about as much of it, say, like you and Nick had when y'all talked about it last week.
You got I watched you casting a little bit. Did you get the keys? I remember you going for those, I think. Did you get both of those? Electronic keys.
Yeah, I'm already in that area.
Okay, so yeah, that's about where Nick and I had stopped on the last podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, you played a similar amount.
You've completed it all?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes. Can
I give some initial thoughts?
Yeah, before you do that, I just wanted to say that I was super depressed when I watched you play my favorite part of the game.
Well,
and that was very sad.
We'll talk about that.
And I don't want to talk about it because it's a spoiler, in my opinion. But it's unfortunate because
there's an entire genre of video games that are kind of like that I just don't play.
I do
it's
not.
Just a personal taste thing.
I would not say that's the same. I could see how you could compare them, but I would not say that that's the same.
Is there a Minecraft section in this game?
Yes, definitely. Actually, that'd be pretty sick. I wonder how they do that.
There's just like a whole chapter of Resident Evil where you're just building shit and mining.
No, I can imagine you like having to build up defenses and shit like that. But anyway, so Brad, tell us your initial thoughts on the first probably 2/3.
Well, people two thirds
yeah.
to 3/4, I think. Actually, the way
Maybe,
people were
yeah.
talking about it.
You'd be surprised how much is left actually. If from where you're saying, you'd be surprised how much is actually left.
Well, I mean, but I've definitely played
I would say 2/3.
a large amount of this game, enough to give my opinions on.
So what are your
what I've
opinions on Resident Evil 7?
I'll say this: I'm happy. I'm happy that this game is not what I thought it was going to be.
Sure.
You know, that first demo, I was really
don't think
not
it's
feeling it. I
and-
thought it was a Pootie Pie walking simulator.
Yeah. I thought-
and honestly, or a horror simulator. Honestly, the first hour of this game, I was kind of not on board with it.
I agree, and I think that's the way everyone else kind of shared a similar opinion. And I don't think anybody thought it was going to be what it actually ended up being. Yeah, everyone thought it was going to kind of be that walking spooky simulator thing.
Which, you know, once you finally get that first weird door open, that kind of at the end of that hallway,
The double door?
And then it opens up into the rest of the mansion. That's when it kind of finally starts to feel like Resident Evil 1. Like you're in the mansion of Resident Evil.
So that was going to be
1.
my question. Did you draw many comparisons to the first one as much as I did?
Well, initially, for sure.
There's similarities, yeah.
For sure. And that's a good thing. Excuse me.
Your Brad's dying.
That's a good thing because you know, I love classic Resident Evil. You know, I talk a lot about Resident Evil 4. You know. That aside, Remake and Resident Evil 2 are also...
Brad, why wouldn't you talk about the best game in the series?
Hey, I'm with you fucking there. But at the same time, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil Remake, they are also two more of my favorite games of all time. I adore the series. Now, I am glad to say that this one does kind of feel like those games in a lot of ways. As, you know, I think it feels like, I think it has elements of all the Resident Evils, honestly, in terms of, you know, some of the, you know, ideas and stuff. But I do like kind of being in these spaces that you return to and explore and kind of open and unlock. And that is like the one thing that I think Resident Evil 4 did start to get away from.
This feels like a central hub almost to the game.
Well, like
to this part of the game, it does. It feels like
it's like a whole like compound that you spend a lot of time going back and forth.
It is very similar, not as in depth. To the mansion from the first game.
Yeah.
You know, you re-enter similar areas multiple times.
The similar key structure, you know, certain themed things, the same, more or less the same kind of story beats without getting too into it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I think the story and the presentation of that story does feel very different. It's not, it is crazy, but it is not like explicitly campy like Resident Evil. I feel like has always been.
Let me reiterate. When I said that it was kind of similar to the first one, what I meant is like locales, same story.
Oh yeah,
As far as locales go.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you get your courtyard, and then you know by the time you get to the courtyard, you know you're kind of maybe over the halfway point kind of thing.
I don't think I necessarily knew that. I mean, I didn't really have a feel for how long the game was.
Really?
No, personally I didn't. It wasn't until I had gotten pretty far into it. Like I said, where I Brad's at, after I finished that section, I thought I was pretty much done with the game. But there's a decent chunk left after that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of
more family.
I feel this game is a good example of how to do backtracking right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a very classical way to do this genre and a refreshing way to do this genre. But it's for the first, and this is what I was saying to Brad on Twitter one time. I said, this is probably the first time where the series hasn't been the one to define the genre for the next 10 years. Mm-hmm. When the original came out, it set the benchmark for what the 90s survival horror was. When Resident Evil 4 came out, it did the same thing again.
Yep.
This now it's kind of behind the times, you know, with your Outlast, with your Amnesias, your Penumbras, all that lot, the walking simulator or walking horror, whatever you want to call it, they're kind of behind the times by the time this game come out.
Correct.
So by that, it's not wholly original. I don't think it can't get the same kind of props. I don't think as the first one did, and especially 4 did. But at the same time, I feel like it refreshes it in such a way to where it does feel unique. It does take an existing type of horror and do it fucking great.
No, definitely. I will agree with that. That while it is not original, it is still solid.
Yeah.
I'll say this though. I do think I think this is a game is a nice return to form, and it does feel like Resident Evil, and that's nice. I don't think this game is as fun as some of those other Resident Evils. Mm-hmm. Like the I think this game is actually at its best after that first hour and a half, when it kind of opens it up and that first Baker is in the house with you.
Yeah.
That's when the game's at its best.
Yeah.
Pretty much this footage right here.
Once you get past that.
If someone hasn't played this game, they think they're like locked in a house with like a pastry chef. When you're locked in there with a baker.
Oh, yeah. the daddy.
The last name is Baker.
But once that threat goes away, I feel like the game becomes not as exciting. And I kind of wish that... and I know there is... And I know I obviously haven't finished. And I know there is... But I did experience the bug house or whatever. But that wasn't as...
It wasn't as
fun.
intense as, you know, the first kind of... When you were going around with Jack.
Yeah.
That's his name, right? Jack?
Yeah.
Jack?
Daddy.
Yeah.
Ethan?
Who? You're Ethan. It wasn't as intense, I guess, because you didn't really get chased.
Yeah.
You know, if they spotted you, you know, there was consequences, but it wasn't the same as, oh, now I'm in this fight or flight. I have to do something about this. I can't just close a door and I'm good to go. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I do see where you're coming from, and that I don't know if I want to say my favorite part of the game was in that first house, exploring that area, but that's definitely that. I guess I had some really good experiences there.
I do think that the other enemies you encounter are kind of lame.
Those enemies?
The molded.
Yeah, they're not that fun to fight. I mean, they're kind of annoying. They're like wavy tube men.
And you know, that was a problem I had, and we had talked about that. Was that, you know, like any other Resident Evil game, headshots are very important, but the way these enemies move They literally kind of flow, and their head goes back and forth, and it makes missing headshots really easy.
I find it very reminiscent of those regenerators from number 4. In many
Yeah,
ways.
but there's like a whole like thing with like fighting those. These guys, you're just
Yeah,
kinda
they're your primary enemy in this game.
trying to get headshots.
But then again,
they're just not that interesting. Honestly, there are times when I'm a little annoyed that those are the only things to fight, because there are times when you go a long period of time without really encountering anything, especially back in this first mansion, because you do spend a lot of time in it after you kind of deal with Daddy. And honestly, I find it kind of boring, and I wish there was more shit that you encountered, and that stuff was more fun to fight, and because you start getting weapons and you're like, I'm not really using these.
And I agree. And so not to like, I don't want to draw comparisons to 4, but 4 had such a variety of enemy designs.
Yeah.
You had like the villagers, and then you had the what were those?
That's because you're
the
constantly
cultist
changing
guys.
locales a lot.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I'm saying.
Even in 2,
in that regard, I've never played 2. So in that regard, though, what Brad is saying, there are like essentially like 3 enemy designs in this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does. I don't want to say get boring. I guess there's technically more than 3. It doesn't. It does get a little boring when you're just doing the same thing over and over, and it's very much the exact same style. When you think of even like the first Resident Evil, like the zombies had a slight variety. You had the regular one, and then you had the dogs, and then you had
spiders,
then you had spiders, and then you had the
snake.
What were the red the crimson heads? And
Yeah.
so I mean, in this, like that doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
So
and these things are kind of isolated to this one area as well.
You see them more in different areas.
But I'm just saying, like I thought this game was going to be a lot scarier, but the reason it wasn't scary is because I feel like the environments became really predictable.
Yes,
in
that
terms
is
of
true.
like what to expect and when.
Yes.
And when there's a threat and not, there was not like that blurred line of like, say, a Fatal Frame game of like, am I really safe here? Am I never safe? Oh,
Honestly,
God, kill me.
I kind of have to disagree with that. Personally, I felt like pretty exhausted playing this game. I mean, I completed it on 2 sittings. My girlfriend and I, we sat down, pretty much blasted through it in 2 sittings, and we were pretty invested into it the whole time. And yeah, there were certain moments in it where we were just kind of exhausted by the end of it. Personally, I mean, but then again, I loved Alien Isolation. That only had like 1 enemy.
Yeah.
I know you weren't personally too hard on it.
I've never really played it.
But I don't know. There was something that I wish this game did, that Alien Isolation did do, and that's the more unpredictable AI. Like, I mean, pretty much in Isolation, that alien will unscriptedly chase you, pretty much. I mean, it goes its own way. I kind of wish your encounters with the Bakers did more stuff like that. I do feel like it's still scripted in that regard.
Well, that first Baker, I mean, it seemed...
It was restricted to that one area. I kind of was hoping there would be more of like he stalks you throughout the house kind of thing.
I thought he did.
He through the west half and then the main area, but that's it.
Yeah.
He doesn't go.
I meant
into
more consistently.
Yeah, he doesn't
throughout
go
the
into
thing.
the east half of the house, and so I mean, into that regard, there even with the molded, it's definitely predictable. Like certain thresholds when you cross, like you're safe. Yeah, and like you'll hear them despawn or hear them spawn.
Yeah, closing a door behind them and then they'll like melt to the ground.
Yeah, so I mean, well, the thing that got me with that though was they can. If you didn't kill certain ones, they would. In retrospect, I understand that it wasn't the case, but I had locked one behind a door, and another one spawned in the room I was in, and I had thought that and this is very early on. This is when I first started encountering them. I thought it was the same enemy. I didn't realize that it was just a different enemy that happened to have a spawn point in the place I was. And that these enemies, once you kill them, they're dead forever. I didn't realize that.
It was more clever than it was.
Yeah, and so I thought it was, oh shit, it despawned into that goop and then respawned from some other goop near me, and which I think honestly would have been better. But I don't know.
The one thing this game does do really good, and it does take a cue from some other survival horror games, is the real-time inventory, which I think is a great addition.
No, definitely.
I think that's a great addition. I was fighting a boss one time, and I'm in the inventory, I'm managing, I'm combining my shit real as quick as I can. I'm running away. I'm backed up into a corner, and the enemy just drops right in front of me. It scares the shit
They
out
added
of me.
that in 5 though. Like this series has had it since 5.
I felt it's best probably it's the best clever I think it's the most clever way that they implemented it in the series.
I do like that it's there. It's just unfortunate that you can't move when you're managing your inventory. I wish you could, just so you could maybe survive a little more and also make it a little more intense because you're on the move while trying to do that. But I don't know.
Have you played any of the DLC?
No, that just came out, what, today? Or Tuesday? Or
The 31st, yeah.
Okay, so yeah. No, because I Redboxed this, so I returned it, so I haven't gotten a chance to play it.
Let me ask you this. What do you think about, like, I mean, I don't think Ethan's going to be in the new Marvel vs. Capcom.
He's not.
No.
You know what I mean?
You got more chance of Jack being in it.
Like, did you... Obviously, it's a big VR title, right?
Sure.
Do you think this game had to be first person? Like, how much of, like, this being the game that it is, the good game that it is, you know, kind of the going back to its roots, whatever, has anything to do with it being first person?
So, I think the reason it is first person was a kind of heavily dependent on VR. I think that is a big kind of...
the claustrophobic.
Well, yeah, no,
and
that definitely is the case. Yeah, like you're in thin hallways. You're not in like a mansion where there's giant hallways and giant like areas. I do think being in first person, not in VR, was actually more difficult than because you know I saw the kitchen demo. You know, I played some of that. You know, I've watched Nick play a lot of this. The game in first person without VR is more difficult than it is with VR. Like just to be in that space, I think I would have preferred it third person, just because you know you have more. You
have more peripheral vision.
Peripheral vision, which can not necessarily make you safer because sometimes when you're walking, all of a sudden you see that, you know, zombie or creature come in between the camera and you can freak out because all of a sudden, oh shit, it's right there.
Yeah, I mean, the series has always had, you know, you being able to see around.
Well, I mean, Chris David just pointed out, if I'm understanding him right, he said that the environments don't really lend themselves well to what he would believe being in a third person.
No, that's what I'm saying.
All Resident Evils have been third person, and they've had environments.
Well, Resident Evil 4 and 5 are in much more.
Yeah,
open.
this is very
about
small.
4 and 5.
This is, you know, even look at the first Resident Evil. You're in a house, but the hallways aren't like 3 feet wide. They're like fairly large hallways, with the exception of a few.
Yeah,
that's just a linear straight hallway. This house is not like a linear. There are very small rooms you are in, and I don't think
for this kind of environment, you either needed pre-rendered or first person. I feel.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people that have been clamoring for the Resident Evil 2 remake to be like the third person camera of 4, 5, and 6. I don't think that would lend itself too good for that for number 2 specifically because again, like number 1, like even 7, you're in much more confined areas. I don't think a third person.
What you think there'd be camera issues?
I think you'd have camera issues.
What is
but I mean, being pre-rendered, you can.
I mean, Evil Within had environments that game had its own issues. With
Evil Within?
It had its own camera issues because of.
But did you not play Evil Within?
I did. And I didn't like it, and I think a lot of it was because of the camera. But then it did have that stupid, you know, that real cinematic look to it.
I guess ultimately, I feel like I'm not having as much fun as I've started. Like Evil Within seemed like a way more fun game to me. Maybe it's because it gave you a lot more like tools and a lot more variety in general, but I kind of missed the variety that the series started to introduce because.
And so that's a hot topic.
This seems kind of.
Well, there's no.
I've done this before.
I don't think there's any doubt that this was first person, obviously to try and cash in on the whole VR craze and the. Like, as you call it, the PewDiePie simulator thing. I don't think there's any doubt about that with some huge influence in it. But at the same time...
This is really nothing like those kinds of games.
No. I'm just saying the decision to be in first person was influenced by that, I think. But
sure.
I don't think that's
VR
I don't think that's a bad thing, especially for the environments that you get. I think it's a brilliant game,
Ethan's
quite honestly.
pretty much a non-character, and I'm not saying like third person in a cool outfit could have changed that, but like it added like there's a lot of iconic Resident Evil characters, and I think you're never gonna get that with this character, and that's maybe a little.
I actually thought it was quite ballsy of Capcom not to revert to. You know, using the people that they could quite easily do, or to go the same story route as they could quite easily do. You know, without getting into spoilers and everything. I know you've not completed it, but
Malia kind of pointed out like an idea that I kind of
what the tapes.
with the tapes.
Yeah.
And
I agree
like,
with you.
It would have been so smart if that. Her idea was that maybe if you could see the character when you did the tapes, but like even go a step further and even maybe even do like the pre or the cinematic camera angles.
When you're watching the tapes, it's like you're watching like a CCTV tape.
I was gonna say,
and so
static pre-rendered.
Yeah, exactly. So the locked camera angles, like if this house had CCTV set up, and when you watch those tapes, you're watching someone who had been in the house before through those tapes. Yeah,
because it is, you're watching a glorified like video camera strapped to our eyes as you play. Yeah. I can see that. I know the way I see it. The remake for number 2, please keep it pre-rendered. The Revelation series, if you're going to carry on with that, I thought Revelations 2 was pretty good. Put that in third person. I know maybe for Resident Evil 8, no doubt they'll try first person again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is weird because I feel like this game, the further people get away from, well, again, I haven't finished it. But like I think people are so like wowed by the fact that like wow, they actually did it. They actually kind of went back to how it used to be. Mm-hmm. That they're I think what's going to happen is like I feel like some hype for this thing is going to die down a little bit the further people get away from it and realizing it that maybe they were liking it because hey, this scorpion key reminds me of that key,
the armor key or whatever.
You know, it's.
I think there's some wasted opportunities.
It's the strengths, but also the weaknesses of doing something like a throwback, like this game is. And I think it's great that they did this, but I don't necessarily think that this is the blueprint for like all Resident Evils going forward because it really is just old Resident Evil in first person.
I don't think this is going to be the blueprint for Resident Evil going forward. I think, like I said, I think they really, Sony is really pushing their PlayStation VR right now. They're really pushing that. They want people to get into it. They want developers to get their hands on it and start making more games for it. And I think once the VR hype dies, I think this will be... So I don't think 8 is going to be super as intense VR as this one. Yeah. In my opinion, that's my thoughts.
Do you think this is like a one-game departure from the rest of the series?
Possibly.
This thing sold pretty well.
But it might just be enough to... to keep the franchise going.
And once again, this is a conversation we had off the feed, and it's something we didn't want to get into last week to avoid arguments. But I think I really hope that Capcom doesn't make the same. Like we talked about the fact that 4 was a huge change for the series, and Capcom was like, "Oh, this is what the people like," so they made 5, and then they realized, "Oh, we didn't understand what people liked about 4 because that's." 5 is not what people wanted. Exactly. And so my hopes are they don't see that everyone likes this game and be like, oh, everyone just wants a first-person VR Resident Evil now.
But I think people were so vocal. But
sales matter, though.
No, they matter.
And I think Resident Evil 6 was the way it was. Because Resident Evil 5 was the best-selling entry in the series. And they say, you know what, there's a lot of people out there saying they want to go back to like less action Resident Evil, but like this is now the best-selling Resident Evil in the series. Why would we not make one that's actiony again? They just...
Well, let's face it, the Resident Evil Remake 2, or the Resident Evil 2 Remake pretty much is only happening because of the very strong sales of the re-releases of Remake 1 and 0.
For sure.
You made a good point. You and I had that conversation on Twitter about, being vocal and it making a difference and everything else. If people remain as vocal about this game and as they were with 6, 6 is what I think pushed them towards this quite clearly. They understood the criticism. It only took them however many years to do it. Yeah. But no, there's a counter argument to be made about the sales talk, and ultimately it's going to be up to the investors and financial people and all the rest of it that I think probably decide what it's going to be in the future.
Yeah. I just think,
but as this game sits right now, I think it's fucking great.
It is. I'm really enjoying it.
It's a solid game.
All I'm saying is I just have this like inkling that there's going to be a honeymoon period with this game that wears off, and people are going to like go like, you know what, like it's cool, but like I like fucking Claire Redfield, not Ethan.
Yeah,
and it's like, can we just have a game that's like this, but with a little more personality?
I will say this about the DLC. So the DLC, real quick. It comes with, Volume 1 has 2 pieces with it, and Volume 2 will have 2 pieces with it. The 2 pieces with Volume 1 is like a kind of endurance horde mode kind of thing, where you're in the basement area and you go back into several rooms, you get scrap to build various defenses and things like that. That's kind of what you were talking about earlier. So it kind of has that, and you got to survive till dawn, and you get points to buy weapons for use in the game and this and that. The second one, honestly, it's kind of like an escape room. It's fucking awesome. You could, once you figured it out, obviously, I imagine that you can complete it in like a minute. But the riddles that they put you in, the situation is you're in bed, and the mother baker comes up and she wants to feed you a bunch of shit out of this plate, and then she leaves you strapped into this bed. Well, you get out, and then obviously the objective is to escape the room without seeing. There's so many little things in that room that you've got to interact with to get a key, but it goes beyond being like the old puzzles. It's really much like an escape room, like you and I could do in real life, and it's fucking awesome. And there's a riddle to it. I can't even figure it out yet, but I just thought it was a very interesting little departure from the main game itself. I'm wondering what they're going to do with Volume 2, but I don't know if it's worth the full price for the season pass at all. But I don't know. I thought the DLC things was pretty cool.
All right, well we should move on.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about 7. I played a new game.
What's that?
It's it's an early game. It's still not out yet. It's still in progress.
Oh, really? This is early access?
Yeah, or beta.
That's really early.
Yeah, this is not. It's the only reason I played it was just because I wanted to play it before. I want to get a little bit on that hype.
Why do people have such big hard-ons for Conan? Not just this game, but like in general.
I think it's kind of a nostalgia thing for one thing. You know,
Conan's been around forever.
Yeah, Conan is not like something new.
Conan was like.
What was the Conan game that came out in like 2008?
Conan.
Oh, it was just Conan the Barbarian.
No.
Was there the Hyborian Age?
Yeah, Hyborian Age.
That was the
MMO they put out.
And then they had like an action game.
Yeah, so I mean, Conan's kind of been a thing that's been around for a while, obviously. But in this, you don't play as Conan. Conan saves you.
Have that debate
at the beginning of the game. Like you are an exiled person, and Conan like gets you off the cross and he kind of saves you, and then you're kind of in like this desert, and then you open up into like
butt naked.
Yeah, you are butt naked. Opens up into this oasis environment, and then it becomes a survival resource gathering game, similar to like Rust or 7 Days to Die or any of the hundreds of other games that are out there now. But in this, so you play a barbarian type character, and you gather resources, and then you have to survive. And I will say that I was playing on a server that had some lag issues, I guess, and I didn't really want to find if I were to join a new server, I would have had to have created a new character and start from scratch, and I didn't want to do that when I was recording this footage.
But like, if you die, you lose your character, right?
No, it depends. So it depends on the server you're in. So that's the thing, and I think this is still an early factor. So you can do a player versus enemy server, you can do a player versus player server, or you can do a single player server. And then you can kind of change the settings. There's lots of different things you can do. And this particular server, like when you die, you don't lose your equipment, but you lose certain things. I mean, there's different settings. Like when I did I did like a single player version. When I died, I lost everything that was on my body. I just started, and I would spawn if I had created a bedroll and laid it on a ground and interact with it. If I hadn't, I'd spawn like back at the beginning and be like kind of totally fucked. So yeah, once again, it kind of depends on the settings that are set up in the server you play on. Like I said, like Rust or something. There's multiple people playing this, and I don't know if I interact with other people in this footage, but there are other people. Honestly, like 50 yards, 60 yards to the right is another house where someone had set up a base, and like I walked up to them and I was talking to them. And I was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Conan," and blah blah blah, and then they were just kind of stared at me.
Well,
and they're like, "You're not Conan."
Yeah, well, and they just kind of like it's like they were afraid that I was going to like steal their shit or something. But the thing is, in this server, you couldn't do that. Like there in this particular server, there was no PvP.
It could just be a misunderstanding.
Maybe, I don't know. But he just he kind of freaked out, and like I don't know. It was kind of funny though.
Can you adjust the size of your dingus on this?
You can.
Okay, so let's talk about that because I have a feeling that's why people are even talking about this fucking game.
And it possibly is. So when you, definitely an elephant. When you start the game, there's the character creator is fairly in depth. You could do a male or female, and you know you can have different have them have different races, or have different religions, a bunch of different stuff.
Can
and
you
then,
adjust the size of your labia?
You can pick
What about-
religions, really?
Yeah, you
Can
pick
you be a
religion.
worshiper of Crom?
Yes,
What
I
about
am
the
a
dick?
worshiper. I am a worshiper of Crom. What's up, Jack?
What about
Labia.
the dicks?
So getting to the important question, there is a endowment slider that you can go from like a tiny like baby.
Does anyone
Nubbin?
use baby penises?
Probably. The thing was when I was
axe and everything.
when I was
right?
creating my character, my choices, in my personal opinion, were either as small as it can go or as large as it can go.
Yeah, I don't think
Go
anyone's
big or
going to
go
be
home.
like slightly above smallest.
Yeah, no, like who would do
No
that?
one's
Like,
going for like middle of the road.
no,
Go
why
big or
would?
go home.
And so
4.5 inches soft.
Yeah. So there's yes, there is a slider for that, and like I said, when you do start, you are completely nude. When you squat, it's all up in your face. Depending on if you're playing first person or third person, you can't play
And
this game in first person.
too, right?
And if you are a female, there is no endowment slider, but there is a breast slider
What?
that you can go from small to large.
I would like,
but there are
you
no
know,
breast
Increase
physics.
the size of her
Dangling-
vulva.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not? That's not a thing. Maybe I don't know. Early access, maybe that'll change. Maybe
That's one critical feature.
Yeah,
that this game has.
maybe
That's all we care
when the
about.
game
Yeah.
comes out, that'll be a thing.
So can you have could potentially
No
you be on a
wizard sleeve
server where
action.
everybody is just naked?
Yeah. There are server settings for no nudity, partial, and full nudity. This is a full nudity server I was
obviously.
on.
I bet 0 people are
Right,
playing
like,
on
how
no
lame is
nudity
that?
server.
But the funny thing was, is this server, every person I encountered was fully clothed.
What?
I was the only
It's
one that
nice
didn't
to
have
have
pants
the
on.
option.
Conan wouldn't
You
be
know?
clothed.
Stop it! Conan!
Conan would be wearing,
Conan, no!
Conan would
Stop
be wearing
it!
his
What the
loincloth.
fuck? It's Conan O'Brien.
Conan.
Conan the Barbarian. Conan.
Excuse me,
Conan.
let me
Well, this is
let me fully enunciate that last A. Conan
This
would
is-
be wearing like a
this is
loincloth.
actually Nonan the Barbarian.
There you go.
So-
Not Nonan. Nonan.
Yeah, this is Nonan the Barbarian.
That's
Yeah, that was,
but
Nonan.
but what I'm so I take that back. There actually are really serious like Conan like fans that
No
probably
fucking duh.
definitely hate that the fact that people are only talking about this game because of dinguses.
yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I mean, I think it's a situation where the game's still early, so I mean, it could potentially be good. It's not just whatever like when I was playing the single player. So first of all, it's like Rust or something. It's very tough at the very beginning. I almost died because I ran out of water. And then when I found some water, unfortunately, that source of water was right next to some crocodiles that started chasing me. And you can die fairly easily. But then I found this guy, Nunu, who was a worshiper of Yarn, somebody, I can't remember, some god. And he was next to his shrine. And I got to interact with him. And he wanted me to, join his cult or whatever. And I had to bring him some flesh. But I couldn't. Yeah, I think it was probably something I couldn't do until later. One interesting thing about this game that I don't know why the other games haven't done yet is any weapon, any kind of like axe or pickaxe or sword or shield, anything. When you craft it, it costs 50 wood, 25 stone to make an axe. If it breaks, you do not have to craft another one for 50 wood and 25 stone. You can just repair it for like 10 stone.
Nice.
And you don't even have to go into a menu. Like if you had looked at the footage a second ago, I was using a pickaxe and it broke. I just literally pressed E twice and he repaired it and I kept going again. And I don't know why more games, because it's such an annoying thing. Like in combat.
Minecraft started the bullshit.
Yes,
give
Minecraft
you-
did. In combat, in like some, if another game, if your weapon broke, you're fucked.
Right.
Like whatever. But in this, I just tap the button again. He repairs it, and you just keep going.
They're super, like in most games, they're super disposable.
Yes.
This one gives you like
Uh,
a higher barrier of entry to get that item, but then it's easier to
Exactly.
keep it.
And thankfully, once again though, if I didn't have the material on me to repair it, I couldn't. But yeah, and then in this particular server also, someone they increased the multiplier of resource gathering, so you gather resource slightly faster, which is nice. You can do all kinds of stuff like that. And if you had noticed, when it was nighttime, it's fucking nighttime in this game. Like it
cool.
gets
You have to, like,
black.
get
If you don't
torches and
have a
shit?
torch, like you
Dragon's
can't
dogma
see
kind of thing?
anything.
Let me ask you this:
What's
And
up?
Nothing but the
Is
silhouette
this
the
more of a
dingus.
game than No Man's Sky?
Debatable. I think the reason I might get into this is if I was playing with other people. You know, I played this solo, and I was like, I don't know where I'm going with this. Yeah, I can. There's this huge crafting menu that you can see very early on. You can see the things you'll eventually be able to craft, which is nice because then it will tell you, oh, to unlock this, you have to know how to do this, 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 and this, and you have to be level this. And so it's nice that you can see all the stuff that you eventually craft. Apparently, you can craft a torture wheel, and you can capture NPCs and torture them into submission, and then they essentially become slaves.
Nice.
And you can give them instructions and stuff.
Nice.
There are these forbidden lands that you go into, and you gain corruption if you were in them for too long. And there are like skeletons and scorpions that were like fighting me.
That's the shit, man.
Yeah.
That's like the fucking pure sword and sorcery shit.
Yeah, and that's in
wonderful.
this. Yeah, you saw me fighting that weird creature
That's some
earlier.
fucking
That
shit.
like when you kill it, he's like some sort of a I don't know, devil creature, and you get brimstone for defeating him.
What origin is this game? Like, what country made this?
Oh, I can't remember.
Somewhere in Eastern.
Yeah,
Europe?
Eastern Europe somewhere. I can't remember where. It's I don't know. I'd have to look into it. What are we?
Why?
I think he's just showing you the slider. That's me.
This clip is up on YouTube.
Yeah, I think he was just doing it for Jack's benefit, maybe.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
The good thing is the squat you see.
So it seems like there's been a lot of care that's gone into the dingus physics.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, there you go. Look at
No,
that.
there are full on
So
physics.
do you think people are going to stick with this game once like the novelty is worn off?
No.
So as of
It's
now,
so
maybe
floppy.
not. Like I said, this game's in early development. There is going to be like quests you will get, and you will actually have to go off and do things at some point. I'm not there yet. Like I said, this is early access. They're trying to get the game to work better. So yeah, I don't know. There is some
Can you become erect in this game?
not to my knowledge. I don't know. I never
early
came
access.
across
It's early access.
a MP or a player of the opposite sex, maybe, or the same sex, that was also new. Maybe that would affect it. I don't know. Once again, early access, things can change. I don't know how much farther I will go with it at this time, mainly because it is fairly early access, and like I said, I wouldn't want to play this by myself. I would want to jump on a server with some other people, create a colony of sorts, and
Do you think you have any other moves?
Pardon?
Do you have any other moves?
It's early access, Brad. He does a pretty simple sword
I just want
swing.
to play on a server where everybody is naked.
So,
I'm sure that's possible.
I don't know. Like this seems like they're trying to go for the Rust audience, and
No, they
I feel like
definitely
those
are.
games are a dime a dozen, and there's a lot in early access that never come out or never really come together. This, I think, even calling it something like Rust or like a fucking Subnautica or something seems kind of generous. This seems
Duty.
Early access.
And once again, I will say this footage is a little jumpy, and that's just due to the server I was on was having
Sure,
some
sure,
lag
sure.
issues.
But like, do you think this is even like more compelling than like the Ark game?
I've never played Ark, so
That's getting a lot of support though.
no,
right?
but in Ark, you
Yeah.
have the dinosaurs and stuff like that.
Well, that's
and
on
there's-
console now too.
and
Yeah.
you can tame dinosaurs and whatnot. That's not in this. But once again, it could be added. I don't know what is yet to come.
But you can tame people.
You can, yes. So I mean, like I said, I'm excited for the potential the game holds.
I think I want this game to do well just because I think Conan the Barbarian deserves a good video game.
yeah.
We'll just look at him.
Like what? I
Are the
think
tits
it's a good-
floppy?
No, there are no. As of now, to my knowledge,
No, Brad.
there are no
Really?
boob physics.
They're fantasy tits. They're always held up and perky.
Yes.
I mean, it's honestly the physics of the dong that seem the most.
Like they've got the
fascinating.
most love.
Oh no, there are definitely, I would assume, multiple developers that worked on the phallic physics to no end because they put a lot of love and time into it.
The rest of your animations look like shit.
Yeah, some of them aren't the best. Yeah, I agree. The jumping's kind of
Is it
like what?
Is it something that you think you'll be playing more of?
Like I said, I would want to wait for a little more time to go into it, and then I wouldn't want to play it by myself. I would want to have a group of friends maybe that we all play together, form a colony. I would want to play on a PvP server, to where you can fight other people and you can kill them and you can steal their stuff. That's what I would want to do, but that's not something I would personally want to just go at on my own.
I wonder if the H1Z1 guys on Twitch are playing this.
That's a good question. But yeah, with that said, that's Conan Exiles.
When we come back from the break, I'll talk about Tales of Berseria. Does anybody else have anything that they haven't talked about yet that they would like to?
Nope.
Well, cool. Then we move into news.
Yep.
Anyways, we'll be back.
Stick around.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Brad, you've been playing Tales of Berseria, is that correct?
Yeah, I have. Tales of Berseria. It's the new Tales game. Hey, Tales is of course, I mean, people were saying this one's pretty good again. Is Chris Davis at
Good
the
again?
computer? Well, people were kind of down on Tales of Zestiria, which is the last one. And I guess some people didn't get into the Exilia games.
Yeah.
In fact,
The last Tales game I played was Tales of Symphonia.
sure, which is great, but that's a great game. But the thing is, that's one of the Tales of Symphonia kind of kicked off the modern era of Tales, like the 3D big Tales games.
Mm-hmm.
People really like that one. People really like Tales of the Abyss. People really like Tales of Vesperia. But I would say Tales of Vesperia was the last one that people kind of definitively agreed was the best one. And since then, each game has maybe had its strengths and its weaknesses. Some of them have had really good combat, but some of them have had really good casts. The Exilia games have Mila Maxwell, and she's amazing. But most people agree that the last game was kind of lame.
Yeah.
Zestiria? Zestiria. Yeah. And this one is it is a prequel that technically it's in the same universe, but it's 200 years prior. And, so it has some of the same concepts to how things work, these kind of angel people that only certain people can see.
These games don't have continual stories, right? They're
some of them have direct sequels, like the Exilia games, or Graces, or Symphonia. But this one, like I said, it's kind of loosely tied to the last game. Mm-hmm. But I it's a prequel, so like Yakuza 0, I don't think you really need to play Zestiria, and that's fine because that game kind of sucked anyways. But this one seems really good, really strong. The basis for the story is pretty simple. You're a woman driven by revenge because of the death of someone close to you. Your goal is to I'm gonna hunt down and I'm going to kill the person who killed my little brother, more or less, right?
Sure.
That happens at the very beginning of the game. That's her motivation, and her character is I don't care who I step on the way to achieve my goal. She's a vengeful person. She's also part demon, and she's got this crazy demon arm. And by demon, I mean werewolfy, because that's kind of what demons are in this universe, sort of.
Sure.
They turn into werewolves, and she has this huge demony werewolf arm that can consume things that she calls just eating them. So she goes around talking about how eating people and stuff, but really she's just kind of absorbing them into her arm. But I'm always surprised. I'm always surprised by the Tales games because the things that they do well, they do really well, and that's you spend a lot of time with the characters, with these skits and these story interactions. And the characters really start to grow on you, and I feel like the cast in this game seems really strong so far. I haven't played a ton, but I like these characters. Like this dude I'm playing as right now, he's also part demon, kind of like the main character. Mm-hmm. He's got this really badass sword on his back, but he refuses to use it. and he will not tell me why. We even had to like go find him weapons that aren't even giant swords. He's using like these daggers, but he refuses to use this sword. I just can't wait to the story beat where he finally uses that sword, because it'll be like Satan.
It'll be probably very important, when it happens.
There's this character in Xenogears named Satan, and he was kind of a badass like fist fighter monk dude. But at some point in the game, he gets his sword back that he's been kind of like talking about, I guess. And he becomes so overpowered when he gets a sword. So cool. Xenogears, y'all played it, right?
No.
Well, I was down on Zestiria, but I'm kind of fully into this one so far. It's still got a lot of comparisons for like the more recent, in terms of like world structure, to the more recent Tales games. I know people are kind of down on that, where there's not really a world map. You're just kind of exploring these big empty spaces where there's not a lot to see, just sort of combat and maybe the occasional glowy bit to pick up. And that's kind of a bummer. But and you get into dungeons and they're very like corridory and just not that. I mean, the weaknesses are still the weaknesses, but I feel like the strengths are better than they have been in a very long time. And I've got the characters' outfits look pretty good. I'm not going to say I didn't spend some money on some cool outfits, but I wanted my characters, they got to look fleek, as they say. And
so much judgment.
Bruh.
What? I found this cowboy hat in the game. Doesn't that look pretty cool?
And
That's a cowboy hat?
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's
Brad
hard
was
to
showing
can't
me
tell.
earlier
It's
that there are some light customizations of outfits and stuff like that. Kind of similar to what some community members have seen me do with Senran Kagura, where you can kind of adjust the size and positioning of outfits and stuff, which I think is a cool concept.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
why not? Why not be able to make your hat really big or, sideways or whatever?
Putting on your butt. I believe you could do that with some of the stuff in this
Yeah.
game. But yeah.
So I have a question about this.
Yeah, go ahead.
This came out on a very busy day. Do
Yeah.
you think of the games that were released that day, that being Resident Evil 7, the Kingdom Hearts compilation thing, Yakuza 0, and, this, do you think this is going to be the one that suffers the most out of the release?
Honestly, I think the biggest competition that this game had on that day was probably like Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
But, honestly, I feel like all those franchises outside of Resident Evil, which has a much wider audience, kind of has its niche audience that kind of, Tales fans are going to play the new Tales game. You know what I mean? Just like a Yakuza fan is going to play the new Yakuza game. And Kingdom Hearts fans are going to play whatever the fuck that...
0.2 final prologue.
It's so stupid. I thought this thing actually contained Kingdom Hearts 2 in it. This 2.8.
Wait, it doesn't?
There's no Kingdom Hearts 2 in Kingdom Hearts 2.8.
It's all like the fucking offshoots.
So I bought my girlfriend the
in
PS3
parts,
games.
like the cutscenes of this game, and then the actual game of this game,
Fucking
and then
mess that series is.
yeah, it's
Like, when you have to have someone come out and explain what the
Stupid.
title means,
So
come on.
yeah, and that's the thing. 1.25 plus 1.5 plus 2.5 is the actual name.
Correct.
Coming up
Yes.
is it HD.
That is HD versions of 1 and 2.
Why did
thought
those
that was
not
all
come
on
out
console.
before 2.8?
So they have so they have, and that's the problem with these
They
games.
have.
If they've come out in multiple forms on multiple systems and been re-released and re-released,
I know, but
so they're doing
but they're trying to do like the definitive like play this and you're ready for 3.
Correct.
But they should have still released 1.5 plus 2.5 before this 2.8 thing.
they did.
I agree.
They should have done it on PS4.
Yes,
1.5 plus 2.5 before 2.8.
I think the reasoning behind that
Yes.
is if you do 1.5 and 2.5, people are going to play those, and then when 2.8 comes out, people are going to be like, I don't fucking care.
How did they judge that
No
the
one cares.
content in
It's-
2.8 is exactly,
One half of it.
3/10 of a part of an installment of the
They
Kingdom
will
Hearts
try to
story?
explain
They
it.
just
You will
made up
have
a
you will
number.
have fans ravishly
is-
try to defend it.
So stupid.
They're just idiots. I don't know.
It's Kingdom Hearts 2.9999.
But the point is, they love what they love, and Tales fans like Tales games, and this seems like a really good one. There's a lot of people talking about, maybe this one having maybe the best cast of any Tales game. Period. And
Very piratey themed, right?
there's lots of piratey people in it. I haven't gotten to many of these pirates. But Malia did say she thought that this outfit made her look like a pirate outside of the cowboy hat. I didn't have the cowboy hat originally. She's actually supposed to be wearing a super skimpy outfit, but I went back to her like outfit that she had here from the start of the game. But all the characters are commenting in skits and stuff that she's dressing very skimpy, and that seems very strange for like such cold weather. But I'm not actually wearing that skimpy outfit. Or they're talking about, why are you showing your midriff? But I'm not.
Is it that the game expects you to be wearing that outfit, or are these just stylized outfits that you can wear and like?
I just think like I just got her default outfit and I changed from it immediately. I don't think they expected you to do that.
I see.
That's all. But you know, the skits, she's always going to wear her default outfit. But in all the cutscenes and stuff, I mean, obviously, you know, I think the cutscenes actually look pretty good in Tell's games. You know, there's a lot of like movement and direction and stuff, like movement of the characters and direction of the camera. Unlike like something like Final Fantasy 15, where there's actually not a lot of that.
Correct.
You know, it's pretty static. But I've always kind of liked how these Tell's games have looked since, I guess, Symphonia. They've been improving that stuff, and now it's getting to the point where I'm just kind of impressed. You know, these games don't quite have the budgets or like maybe the graphics of like a Final Fantasy 12, but like or even Persona. Like think about Persona. There's a lot of just standing around and talking. It's great dialogue. It's great voice acting, but there's not a lot of like action or movement when you're in these conversations and stuff. But I'm saying like these Tell's games, they do a really good job with that stuff.
Is that because they're in this like anime style, or is that are all the cutscenes like this? Or
no, I'm not talking about skits. I'm talking about actual like
story-based
in-engine
cutscenes.
Yeah. It's not just characters standing around. So
one
like
of the
you
things
see in a lot of like JRPGs, just kind of like lazy, easy way out.
So one of the things I read about this game is that the characters don't shut the fuck up when you're playing. There's a lot of in-game dialogue.
Oh, you're
Like
talking
when
about in combat?
Well, I don't just mean in combat. I mean just when you're walking around the world.
Oh,
and
but
stuff.
that stuff's great. I mean, that's the stuff you want. Like if your fucking Dragon Age characters or Mass Effect characters talked as much as like Tales of characters, it would be amazing. Like that's what the strength.
I didn't know
series.
if it was considered a negative or a
No.
positive.
No. That's one of the strengths of the series is you get to know your party more than any other party in any game series out there just because they talk so damn much. It's kind of like Persona.
Yeah.
You know, like no one likes Chie at first, but she grows on you because you learn a lot about her or something. I like Chie. But yeah, I'll definitely keep playing. It's weird because I'm kind of having to make some choices here. I kind of put down Gravity Rush 2. I feel really bad about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, something's got to give. I'm probably the only one around here right now who's going to be playing this Tales of game. So I kind of don't want to stop.
At this point, that's probably true. Yeah. I mean, it's not that it's a game I wouldn't play. I definitely would. It's just more of I can't play everything. You've mentioned Persona 4. What, Crispy?
No, I'm just saying there's games with floppy dong physics to be played.
Well, no. Like
what do you want from life?
Brad had talked about Persona 4, and that is a game I am playing right now.
Yeah.
Because Persona 5 is about to come out, and
will consume you.
Yeah, I know that I don't have to play 4 to play 5. That's not how that series works. It's more of I want to. And now that I've put 50 hours into Persona 4, I don't want to just put it down and back away. I want to finish the game. I don't know how close I am to the end. I just finished the video game dungeon.
Yeah.
So I don't know how close that is.
That thing was so cool when you first start that dungeon, and then by the end of it, you're like, fucking stop.
I mean, the final boss was ridiculous.
Just
like,
stop.
I mean, it was kind of a cool concept. He was like the 8-bit character, and when he would attack you, it looked like a Final Fantasy game where it would pop up a prompt next to the character he's attacking, like fight item and like spell and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's a game that I don't have like footage. I briefly, like I said, I'm farther in the game now. I'm enjoying it. It's still good. Like I said, well, how much time do I have? 2 months? When's Persona come out? End of March or
It comes out in April.
Beginning of April.
Beginning of April. So yeah, I got about 2 months to finish this game.
And then you got Neo in between all that.
See, that's the other thing.
And Neo isn't going to be
Nick
blast over
finished
the
Gravity Rush 2, so I don't feel too bad about putting it down.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all are gonna play Neo. I mean, I'm either like gonna play a lot of Neo or I'm just gonna wait.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't decided yet. You're gonna play a lot of Neo.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be so knee deep in Yakuza.
I'm
See, that's another
I've got-
game
I've got a lot of
that,
things.
like I said, I want to play Persona 4 and finish it before 5 comes out. Honestly, per this conversation, Yakuza 0 is ahead of Tales of Berseria on my list.
Sure.
I would like to play both of them, but I gotta choose.
What if I had to buy? What's
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all we have for video game impressions this week. Unless anybody has any other fleeting comments. No. All right. Let's jump into some news.
I got a couple of news topics here. Nothing too long-winded,
Nope.
but some interesting things. There's a lot of like Final Fantasy announcements that came out.
30th anniversary.
Yep.
Yeah, and then like the 20th anniversary of 7 and
20th anniversary of 7 would be a good time for them to release stuff around 7.
apparently in the news we found out that Final Fantasy 7 has not even entered full production yet.
Nope.
Apparently they're
He
still
didn't say
working
that in
on like
so many words, but that's what was gathered from that Famitsu interview. And really, is anyone surprised?
No, not at all.
No, absolutely.
Not in the slightest.
Square have done this time and time again.
don't
This
even
would have been a great time to maybe hint at an announcement for the game for the anniversary of it.
It's such a fucking bummer because you kind of want them to learn from their mistakes and say, hey,
Yes.
these long dev cycles are not what, one, people want, and two, makes you rich. That doesn't happen. So just make a fucking video game. How about that?
That'd be a good
Well, when you
idea.
consider they still got a butt ton of FF15 content in the pipeline, the DLC for that, which I don't know how far ahead on that they are. They probably
Yeah.
completed most of that, in all fairness. You got Kingdom Hearts 3 that somehow to come out, which people have been waiting a lot longer than people have been
But
waiting.
that's nowhere near inside either. They showed...
That's probably it's a lot further than 7.
Part of their big anniversary event is they showed a picture of Sora looking at some fucking, I guess, Mickey Mouse's castle, just like, and holding his sword, just like Cloud did way back in the day, and that key art where he was looking at fucking the Shinra
Mako
building
reactor.
or whatever, or a Mako
Yeah.
reactor. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Make some video games. God damn it. What is
That would be nice.
Well, he also made that other comment where he said that they're going to try and maximize like the graphical fidelity of this platform and you know, and maybe the future platforms, which I probably butchered that quote. But
In layman's terms,
what it
we're
what it
buying
kind of
for time.
suggested, what it kind of suggested and implied was that maybe if something else, if another console comes out during this dev cycle, maybe it will go on that instead too. Maybe I don't know. I think it's going to be a PS4 current gen title, but
Maybe the Pro
We would
Plus.
hope so.
I don't know, it's just a mess. It was announced way too early.
Do you think
What's up?
one of these days, one of these companies are gonna have the balls just to like finally do like the iPhone thing
Mm.
and just call it like the Xbox?
Xbox S,
Yeah,
Xbox Plus.
Well, or maybe not iPhone, because iPhone they still use numbers, but like iPads, it's just like iPad, you know?
Yeah.
Like Xbox, like Scorpio, they're just gonna call it Xbox.
Well, no, they do. They use numbers on the iPads,
They do.
like iPad 4.
But there are some product lines that just.
Well, the problem with that, Brett, is it's super fucking confusing because they don't explicitly do numbers. Sometimes they'll have different models that could be different sizes, and you're
we
like,
have
what
that-
do I
It's a
need to
it's a
fucking
bad
buy?
idea, but I have a feeling that one of these days someone's gonna do it. I feel like they almost did that with Xbox One, but they just at the last minute they just like we can't
Just
do it.
slap a
They
one
just
on
didn't have the balls to do it. So like fuck it, Xbox One.
Well, we have that with video games too, with reboots and remakes, just using the exact same title as the previous one or the first one or whatever.
It's terrible.
So speaking of Final
Doom,
Fantasy news,
Tomb Raider.
15 has some updates coming up. Like you can now listen to your MP3 on your Chocobo.
Yeah.
that was literally my hype.
After I've beaten. Oh, really? After I've beaten the game.
This
Sorry.
was
Well, you can
60
handle
frames on Pro.
that. Yeah, 60 frames. They're apparently not yet fixing chapter 10, 13. But yeah, I don't know. Like the only problem is it's a little too late. Too little, too late for me. I beat the fucking
and they
game.
got the DLC coming out, the Gladio DLC, and then they'll have the Prompto DLC.
Well,
Is that
I
gonna-
And then the Ignis DLC.
Is that going to make
didn't
me care
finish
about
Final
the
Fantasy
characters?
15.
I like
I'm
the characters.
hyped as hell that it's getting that update because I will totally hop back into Final Fantasy 15 now that I can listen to music on my Chocobo because...
What soundtrack did you listen to a lot of?
Chocobo.
I mean, Chocobo.
It's not on the Chocobo.
Once you get...
You're
never not on your Chocobo.
As
when
soon as you get the
Chocobo.
Chocobo, you're on the Chocobo like 90% of the time.
No, they didn't patch it yet. That patch is coming at the end of the month.
Correct.
But...
Anyway, what else is in the news?
The ZeniMax thing.
Oh, yeah.
Did y'all hear about this?
Court case.
Chris,
yeah.
did you hear about this?
Did you hear about this? Did you see this? Did you hear about this?
Did you hear about
Did you
this?
see
Did
this?
you see this?
Yeah. The
So-
courts ruled in favor of.
So yeah, the big lawsuit of ZeniMax versus Oculus / Facebook, ZeniMax, aka Bethesda, accused John Carmack, who one of the founders of id, creators of Doom, kind of the tech guy for id all these years, a certified genius, more or less. Certifiable genius, maybe.
Rocket
I'm sure he's
scientist.
got plenty of certifications.
Credentials.
He's a smart guy. Well, when he was at Bethesda, he was kind of dicking around with VR technology. Eventually, he left Bethesda, and Bethesda or ZeniMax was like, and then he went to Oculus. They're like, you stole our technology because you were working on that when you were our employee, and you can't just take stuff.
Well, yeah,
Because
most
it's the
we've talked about
property.
this before. Most companies, when you work for them, if you develop something while there, that is not yours. That is the ownership goes to the company that was paying you
Metal
money
Gear Solid
while
5.
you were developing it. What's up?
Metal Gear Solid 5 comes to mind.
So ZeniMax, Bethesda, was even going as far as to say that like Palmer Luckey is like just a face, that it's actually John Carmack who created this technology. Like they were crazy, outlandish accusations, right? Like this is all just a cover and he stole this technology, and Oculus is which is now owned by Facebook. It was bought by Facebook for $2 billion.
Yep.
So they were suing Facebook / Oculus. And they won.
Yep.
ZeniMax one?
ZeniMax won. So Oculus Facebook has to pay ZeniMax
As of now.
$500 million. As of now.
Facebook could appeal.
Now,
but-
they could appeal. Also, couldn't Facebook like totally sue the Oculus guys for fraud if they purchased them under the pretense that
stolen property. Buying
Yes.
stolen property.
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah. Essentially, Oculus was selling a product they had stolen.
Does this mean anything for John Carmack?
What's up, Crispy?
I don't know, like they would be suing a company that they own
well, they would be suing the people.
Yeah.
directly.
They could. I mean, they made this purchase, under a certain pretense that like this wasn't like stolen tech. That Palmer Luckey.
Is Palmer Luckey even like involved anymore?
He's
Didn't
been
No.
he's been completely
gone.
erased. He's still there,
Yeah. Oh man.
but he supposedly, but he's been like completely erased from the public. As far as Oculus goes, who knows?
Crazy times.
What?
Money.
What does
Money
it
is
say
what
here?
drives people.
Carmack responded to the lawsuit results complaining about the expert witness brought in by ZeniMax. ZeniMax responded to him by saying that the court's independent expert found 92% of Carmack's hard drive was wiped. All data was permanently destroyed right after Carmack got notice of the lawsuit, and that his affidavit denying the wipe was false. That's perjury, isn't it?
Crazy stuff.
I mean, you think Carmack could be in some trouble here?
it's possible.
I mean, do you think
I'm not a lawyer.
that
Should have been.
that Facebook
Face
would
value, it
fire
sounds
him?
like he's in some hot shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Time will tell.
That's fucked up.
Yep.
The crazy thing is Carmack has always been like very straight, direct and to the point. Like if you've ever read like Masters of Doom or whatever,
Yeah.
he just kind of speaks his mind, and it sounded like they just asked him in court, like he wasn't denying anything. It's like, yeah, I totally copied a bunch of files before I left. Which is kind of what you don't want to say in a big like lawsuit like this, but
Yeah.
maybe they knew that they knew, whatever. But it was just kind of crazy to hear
Was there any other news?
Carmack on the stand.
No.
Excuse me.
Then we can move on to the community. The community. I was just waiting to see how long I could go on that without anybody stopping me. Chris Davis had to yell from the other room. Thank you, Chris Davis. Community time. This is when we talk about you, the community, the people we love. We enter your ears and eyes every week, and we appreciate you.
Saw a few of you guys at PAX.
Yes, during our PAX trip, we got to see a few of our community members. That was very nice to meet up with people, see the shining faces. That it's weird when you see someone and like they know you, they know your face and your voice, but you're like you don't. And I know we definitely aren't like A-list celebrities or anything, but that's still a weird feeling when like someone you've never seen before walks up to you and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And you're like, "What?" But anyway, we appreciate it. It's nice to see the community. We get to meet up and have dinner. Anyway, moving on. One new patron this week, Necrotechno.
Necrotechno.
Yep. Thanks for being a patron, becoming a member of the group of the club.
Fuck yeah.
That's always nice. Every week, we answer questions from our patrons. Any patron can go to patron.com/4Player and ask us questions, and we will answer them.
Techno Necro.
What?
No, I would have flipped them.
Okay. First question this week from Mr. Green Toast. If the 4-player crew had their own booth at PAX, what sort of knickknacks and gimmicks would your booth have over the other booths?
We'd have a dunk tank with like Brad sitting on it.
Well, what would we
Brad.
have in a booth? Yeah, I mean,
Whatever. That's what he said. What would we do
Would
if we
sell
had a
merch?
booth?
I mean,
Well, yeah. I mean, look, like Rooster Teeth has a booth, and yeah, that's just like a merch
They
booth.
just
Like, what if we had a booth? What would our booth
kissing
be?
booth?
Ooh. Who would you
There you
kiss?
I guess
Depends on the
people-
price.
Yeah.
Like if
Anybody, right?
if it's me, like I have to pay them.
Long as
If you got $2, you
As long
got
as you don't look them in the eye.
I was gonna say if it was like me, I'd have to pay them. Like they could come up and I'd give them $1 to kiss them.
It's for a good cause.
How could you make money? There's got to be a way
You'd
that
have
you
to have,
could
like,
somehow
you'd
make
bring,
money.
Like Menti and Hyde had like a dog show.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They would probably get more attention than we would.
Yeah. All right. Next question from Soul Prince. I was going to ask as to why my parents are divorced, but nah. Real question. How would you guys deal with the sense of burnout after playing a lot of games other than taking long breaks from them? I've had people suggesting to steer clear away from gaming news, for example. Don't worry, I'm not going to stop watching 4PP. So essentially just getting burnt out on games. You know, there's like lately, there's
Who
an
hasn't felt that?
overwhelming number of games, and you're forced to, oh my God, it came. And then, Crispy, I know, has experienced it. I've experienced it. This past week, I was just, so many games, and then we played a lot at PAX, and I got home, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch some Fargo. And so and there's times when instead of playing, games like last night, I didn't play a single game. I spent 6 hours working with Adobe software trying to do some Blu-ray authoring.
Yeah, I see you having some trouble with that.
Yeah, instead of playing video games, because I'm just in that situation where it's like there are too many games and there's too much going on.
Nolan, how much Fargo have you watched?
I'm on episode 5.
Of season 1.
Correct.
Okay.
It's pretty good so far.
Season 2 is like season 1's like season 2's like,
Really?
and it's completely different.
Interesting. I just saw the one scene that is a flashback to 87, and I was like, oh shit! Like,
To the
oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Like, he's like, oh, that's what fucking like that. I always wondered what was gonna come out of that. Anyway, Fargo's a pretty good show. Why didn't anyone ever tell me to watch that before? But anyway, yeah. How do you handle burnout? Video game burnout.
I'm in it right now. I'm in the burnout. I've just been I've been reading D&D books and watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's a good show.
That's all I've been doing.
I'll play a game and I'll finish it, and I'm just left with this empty feeling because I'll look at like the list of other games I've got to play that I've bought like months ago. That's still shrink wrapped.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Yeah.
You have the games. Just play them.
No, but then I go back and I replay the game I
Hold
just
on.
beat.
Well,
to that question, Brad, do you ever not feel like that daunting? Like my Steam library is huge. There are plenty of games I
But you
could
keep
play.
adding to it.
Yeah, but then like you see that and you're just like, don't get me wrong. Like once I start playing a game, I'm like, yeah, I get into it. But it's that transition between games or when you're like super burnt out. Do you not
I
ever?
get that, but like I'm so short for time right now that like I burned out is definitely not the.
It's kind of like you know, I felt that way a lot when I was in school. That you know, you just have so much work to do, like so much homework and projects that you just don't do anything.
Yeah.
You just take a nap.
I don't really get burned out on games so much as I just like I have like an emptiness if I finish something that I really liked and put a lot of hours in.
Yeah, I mean that's a different kind of feeling,
Right.
but like I absolutely would get that too. But
I don't really get burnt out though. There's always stuff to play.
Yeah, that's true. All right, next question from Michael Lim. Your thumb gets ripped off in some terrible accident.
Ugh.
It gets gone. It's so mangled, it's unusable. But you have the option of replacing it with your big toe or just leaving it be. Toe thumb or no thumb?
big toe, of course.
Yeah.
Well, that would affect your balance. I don't think you realize how
Yeah.
much toes affect balance. I mean, I guess unless you were Bob, his big toes are basically thumbs.
So-
You would.
It has to be my big
You'd
toe.
have to like
Yes.
walk with a cane forever.
That's fine. I'll whack people with it.
I thought I could just use someone else's big toe.
I don't think that's how
Why?
that
What?
works.
No.
He didn't explicitly state.
Oh well, then no. I mean,
Wait,
it's just one of my hands.
How was it worded?
You have the option of replacing it with your big toe.
There
Or
you go.
just leaving it be. What if you replaced it with like your pinky toe? It's like a little like.
I don't know, man. I think
The
You
problem
gotta
is
hold a like you try to hold a controller. Like you can't use an analog stick.
Did I use both my thumbs or
no,
just
just
one
a
thumb?
thumb.
Yeah,
A thumb.
I mean, yeah, you manage.
probably replace it. But I've thought about this a lot. Like I think about like what would I do if I just lost an arm?
You
Well,
just
do you-
lay,
I lost
you lay
a
in
hand.
bed and think of these
Yeah,
things.
specifically in context of like my hobby as someone who plays video games. What would I fucking do with my
I think
life?
you'd probably just kill yourself.
Well, no, I would just get super into Darkest Dungeon and FTL, and that's
Yeah,
it. And
there are
that's all I'd
definitely
play
games
forever.
that aren't super like
You can
action
like hold a
oriented.
pen or anything though, right? Well, no, of course you
I
can.
went Brawly Legs,
Well, it would be tough.
pro Street Fighter player.
If you
Like chopsticks.
if you replaced your thumb
Yeah,
with your toe, do you think you'd be better at Thumb Wars?
oh yeah. It's so,
Why
it'd
do
be
I have
so
to use
flat
it?
and
Why
'Cause
do I
that's
have
the
to use
fucking
my big toe?
scenario.
I'm
That's the fucking
I'm gonna
scenario.
say fuck the big toe. I'm gonna use like my
Dick.
no like one of my other fucking toes. What's the shitty toe next to your tiniest toe?
The
That
index
was, like,
toe, I guess.
No, the other one.
The ring
the
toe.
ring toe.
The ring toe's
Why?
fucking useless.
you'd
I
have
just-
you'd have a
just put
thumb
my-
that's like this big.
But it's still functional.
that is your fourth metatarsal.
Dude, I don't think
Oh, so
it
you'd
would
be like,
be.
like that. That'd be.
Is that correct? Metatarsal.
I don't think it would be.
I don't care what it looks like, but as long as I can grip something.
Yeah,
But what was the other part of that question?
that's it. Just
No,
that.
Would you replace it, or
Or would you
be
just rather have no
thumbless?
thumb at all?
Okay, yeah, next.
Wait, not metatarsal. That's the bone below the toe. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Brawly
I don't know
Legs,
that
he
much
plays
about
Street Fighter
bones.
with his face, and he's better than all of us combined.
Anyway, thanks for the question, Michael. Final question this week from I don't know how to pronounce this name. Pioshft.
Piosh.
Oh, there you go.
Y'all should have just went with it.
As video game
We could've
series
been like,
continue to add sequels, prequels, and spin-offs to their
couldn't
history,
resist.
sometimes it can be fairly daunting to pick one up to start with. Hey, we kind of talked about this earlier. When entering a video game series for the first time, how do you normally choose which game to start with?
Oh man,
And so that could be
I
tough.
don't.
Yeah, that can
I-
be tough. And it's a scenario of what do you think? And I think this is a situation where you have to talk to people who've played the game.
Well, like, yeah.
Because
like,
it's a situation of, do I want to start at the beginning and maybe play some older games that are a little bit rough around the edges, and the only reason people love them so much is because at the time that's all that
the
was out there.
appreciation of-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or do I start with a better game in the series, grow a fondness for the characters and the franchise, and then go back and play through
It
those
really
old
does
ones?
depend on the series. Like, I'm going to be jumping into Persona 5 having never played a Persona game in my life.
Yeah.
But that's advised, right? There's no
Yeah,
punishment
yeah,
or anything.
correct.
I'm not losing anything besides maybe a couple of like little references here
It's
and there.
situational. It depends on the series. It
Exactly.
depends on the person. Depends on how much time you have. Just,
Persona,
you gotta do the
try jumping
research.
anywhere. Final Fantasy, you can probably jump in anywhere.
Yeah, just
Dude,
you
I-
gotta do
I-
the research.
I have a hard time with series that are like older that have new high profile installments coming out, because then like if I like the new one, there's like this natural drive of like, oh, well, you should go back and play the older ones, and I can't do it.
You don't
like
have
even
to.
if I finish 0 and I fucking love Yakuza by the time I'm done with 0, I don't think I'll ever go back and play 1 or 2.
Well, you'll
or
have
3.
Kiwami, the remake.
Well, Kiwami, I guess.
then
yeah.
2.
But like, I don't think I would ever want to go back and
But
do
they
like.
don't change that much that series. So I think if you really like
I know,
Zero,
but it would still
you
be
could go
like
back and
it
play-
just look all like PS2 and just like ugh, gross. Ugh,
I know people that try to start with MGS4 or even worse, MGS5.
I normally don't
And it
have.
sours their opinion of the entire series as a result. You know, it does
Yeah.
depend on the series.
What would you suggest someone starts with?
with Metal Gear Solid?
Yeah.
They would safely start with 3.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say Solid?
Yeah, you guys are solid. It's too crazy just to jump in the middle.
Because like
But then
it's-
what solid? Like 1 or
Oh, yeah,
Twin Snakes?
one,
Solid,
one.
solid.
So like I would never.
I would say Twin Snakes.
Or twin.
If it were
Yeah, that depends.
If it were me, I would
I mean,
say
Twin Snakes
I
is
think
a little-
Twin Snakes is a little
That's more
more.
just
Just
Device
grow a
access,
pair and play an old game.
a little harder to
Nah.
get a hold
Get a
of.
CRT.
No,
But-
Hook that bitch up.
Like, would you ever suggest Metal Gear?
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would never
I mean,
suggest
the love for
starting
that
there.
series didn't start there.
And no, I was that like I've played Metal Gear,
Yeah.
and that was not my first game in the series. It was
Right.
I played Metal
played
Gear
it with- you
Solid,
probably played it
and
when you
then
had the-
2,
played
and
it
then
on
3, and I
number
was like, "Fuck, I love this. I'm gonna go back and play Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake."
Again, it depends on the context of the series itself. Certain characters, for example, in Zero, they have implications in future games that are more. You appreciate what they do with Zero more if you have played the previous games. Sure, but they're perfectly fine to jump into as is.
I never have this problem though because whenever I'm jumping into an old series, Brad is shoving the one I should play in my face. So, so I don't have to think about it.
Who you know.
Just ask me. That's the answer to the question.
All right, well, thank you. So thanks everybody for the questions this week. Any patron is welcome to go to patreon.com/4player or 4playernetwork.com/patreon and ask us any question they would like. Every week we post a new thread, and they can be crazy. Last week's question, I'm not even going to bring one of them. I'm not going to bring it up. There's actually a highlight on our YouTube channel now. It's about some desserts. You should go check that out to see how interesting conversation that was. That's all for community. Don't forget, if you want to be more involved in our community, to check out discord.gg/4player. Great place to come and chat with us. Yeah, everyone is welcome. And with that being said, I think it's time to move on to the 4-player minute.
What's the 4-player minute?
Yeah, Nick, what is the 4-player minute? Oh my god.
The 4-player minute is where we reveal our hype, our fuck you, our sweat, and our shame.
Thank you.
Thank
think.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We
Things have
changed Thank you a
changed.
few years
Yeah,
ago.
Yeah, things
Brad,
have changed
you wanna
slightly.
start?
I don't have any thank yous. I have 2 fuck
I'm
yous.
grateful. Fuck.
Combined fuck you. It is a double 2 fuck you for Nintendo. Fuck and the people. Fuck all the people who are gonna fall in love with Fire Emblem Heroes and download it and spend all your money on it and make that the most successful Fire Emblem game, thereby sealing the fate of that series to never being ever cool or awesome or good looking ever. This new Fire Emblem Heroes, which by the way at their Fire Emblem little press conference thing, they devoted more time to that by far than anything else. Now granted, it was coming out sooner, but they
They just said, "Oh yeah, and we got a Switch title."
Seems like they care a lot more. I mean, there's that one coming out for the 3DS is actually coming out really soon, but they're just like, there's this. But Fire Emblem Heroes, the game, for one, the game looks like dog shit. It looks like shit. It looks bad and garbagey. And Fire Emblem used to be beautiful and awesome and make me want to own a sword. It was just cool. This game looks like dog shit, and y'all should be angry and writing letters to your congressman. Also, fuck Nintendo
Of all the things.
for not doing Advance Wars anymore. And I just have a feeling that they're gonna have the balls to try to bring it back, and it's gonna be a fucking mobile game. So this is just sort of like a preemptive fuck you, because I'm sure they're gonna make that look like shit, and that play like shit on a 6x8 grid. This fucking, I downloaded Fire Emblem Heroes. I have to try it. I have to see the fucking garbage fest that it is, and maybe I'll even spend some $3 trying to unlock my character, because fuck me, right? This is the world they created, and I just have to fucking deal with it. Man, fuck you. Fate sucked me. Fuck you, Nintendo. My hype. I already talked about it. It's that it's
The choke
Final
on.
Fantasy 15 is finally getting some patches that make that game There's one I want to play. And you know what? It might sound stupid, but an MP3 player on a Chocobo makes that game a lot more enjoyable to me because I kind of want to. Yeah, it makes me want to do side quests and stuff.
Are they patching in story that's going to make me care about the characters?
Well, I mean, eventually. But you know what? Like I said, we didn't get this with other Final Fantasies
you
before.
You weren't there.
Maybe Final Fantasy 13 patches could have made that game dope.
You were there during our community meetup. On one half of the table, myself, Allie, one of our community members in Reborn, were talking about that game and how much disappointment we felt at the end with the character progression and story, and just now's not the time to talk about it. But I mean, like,
all I'm saying is, we can be mad at Final Fantasy 15, but we can't be mad at patches if they're legit trying to make the game better. I know
I understand.
some of us have played it, but like I said, 13 may have been able to be turned into a dope game if they had these kinds of patches back then. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm glad I haven't finished it, I guess. Mm-hmm. And my sweat finally is for the Switch. Because kind of after playing it at PAX, I enjoyed my time, but it sort of made this crazy thing to be excited about that's coming out soon into more of a real thing. Mm-hmm. And while my impressions of that were positive, they weren't like, mind blown over the moon about this big shiny new thing.
It impressed us, but didn't excite us.
Yeah, the excitement died down. Yeah. It was like, this is impressive tech. But after playing Zelda and realizing it still looked kind of iffy and framey, not bad. I'm obviously going to play it, but it's not like I got to go out and buy a Switch to play Zelda, because in reality, it looks like it's going to run just as iffy as the Wii U version. Some of the other stuff I played seemed fun, but it's not like stuff that I'm clamoring to own. And the truth is, if I wait till the time Mario comes out, like, I bet you I'll find a fucking deal on a Switch.
Well, probably.
I just see all these games coming out now. The fact that I'm already throwing games into the trash. I don't have time to play this game. Bye-bye Gravity Rush 2. Like, February is crazy. March is crazy. Like I don't have time to be worrying about a new system, I don't think. But I'm on this fence, though, where, like, if I find a fucking... oh, well, there it is. I walk into a store and I see one, I'm just going to buy it. It might be that kind of dumbass situation. But right now, all I'm saying is I've definitely cooled on it.
Cool.
So that's my sweat.
All right, thanks for that minute-long conversation. I'm just kidding. All right, my 4Player minute starts now. My hype is for Neo. Reviews are starting to come out. It's really fucking good.
When you say Neo, do you mean John Wick 2?
Yes. Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm excited for that. I know it's going to be a source of frustration for me, because I'm sure I will probably die plenty in that game. But I enjoyed the time I spent with the alpha and the beta and stuff like that. It got really good reviews. No, I know. That's the first thing I said.
With any Souls game than I did with Neo.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm excited for it. I'm hyped. My sweat goes to work. Some of my work just moved into a new building. Or officially our first day is Monday, but they did a tour of the office today. And while it is nice and fancy and modern, it's like an open work environment. So it's just long benches, like not cubes or anything. And it's just kind of like, I'm just not looking forward to that. I thought
you had an office.
Yes, I have an office. No, I sit outside. What do you mean?
But never mind. I thought.
Actually, we're moving into a new building. I no longer have a cubicle.
Benches?
Yeah, it's like a long desk with 5 people sitting at each long desk. Just imagine a very long desk.
That's like a more modern business thing, right?
Yes, it's called an open work environment.
That's gross. Yeah, I don't blame you.
I don't like it. I understand it's useful for pair programming, so people can go up to each other, but it is horrible for noise reduction. It is like loud and just like there's no privacy at all.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't know. Just kind of worried about that. My thank you goes to the community, everyone that met up with us at PAX, stopped us on the show floor, came to our community meetup. It was funny. We went to a merch booth, and one of the ladies at the merch booth recognized us, and she was like, "Oh yeah, great, blah blah blah." Awesome. Yeah, so it's nice. It's nice when people come out and see us. It's always fun. And then a fuck you goes to myself. because of all these fucking video games. Like Brad was saying, there's too much to play, too much to do. You know, I in the past like month, I played like 15 hours of Stardew Valley, and then one day I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I know I like this game, but I can't. I fucking can't. I have the only game that has come out this year that I have played is Resident Evil 7. That is it. I haven't touched Gravity Rush. I haven't touched Yakuza. And those are games that it's not that I feel like I have to play. It's just I know I'm going to want to play them, and it's just like, oh my god, like why? So, yeah, luck me. This year it's gonna suck. That's it. Crispy?
Okay. My hype is also for Neo because awesome, right?
Yeah.
Can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. My next hype is again for 4-player D&D. Can't wait. My sweat is for 4-player D&D. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. It's
Crispy. If
it's getting really weird,
you could
and
make
we haven't
something-
even like gotten it up.
If
off
you
the
could make
ground
us something, spin us up something like True Dungeon, I think that'd be pretty good.
yet. I don't know. Keeping it on a table is enough work. I can't make real dungeons. Brad, can I turn your house into a dungeon? Cool. Well, maybe. My fucking other sweat is for the fact that, again, I have even less time now to play shit, and there's more games to play, and I don't want to let Yakuza 0 go. Like, I don't want to let it go, but I need to get through it before something else comes out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Before Neo comes out.
Well, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to buy Neo day one. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to pick that up day one.
I recommend maybe don't, because you don't. You got a video game.
I feel like my life is a shambles right now.
No, but we talked about this, Crispy. You just gotta relax. You're watching a lot of Always Sunny and stuff. You just you got to quit acting like you're in a third world country, just walking down to the river to get your bath water.
Well, I've been reading a lot of shit, like trying to get this game ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
D&D.
Dragonlance books and stuff.
No, fuck that. Dragonlance. Okay.
Jack, your 4-player minute?
Wait, before he starts.
No.
Well, I mean, he could. I gotta leave the room, and I don't want to be rude.
Well, that was fairly rude.
No, it's not. Vamp.
I'm gonna vamp.
Do a massive.
Jack,
poop.
what's your 4-player minute?
My hype is actually not a video game. It's what the hell?
Apparently, we can't go yet.
It's rude for him. For me not to hear his 4-player minute, right?
Yeah, so it was rude for you to leave.
Well, I couldn't leave while he was doing it.
I'm so confused.
Oh, I have one more thank you. Jack got me this.
Oh yeah.
This sweet ass.
This is a podcast.
Oh.
They can't hear Brad or see that, but Brad is holding up a pop figurine Sweet Tooth from Twisted Metal that Jack got him.
Well, this encourages
vinyl.
people to go watch the live show every week, or once it hits on YouTube. I also
Cool.
pull my penis out. Look at it. Impressive.
Eh.
I've seen
Nothing on Conan.
Yeah.
Conan.
That was Nonan.
It's on the first third of the endowment slider.
All right, Jack, your 4-player minute.
So my hype is actually not a video game. It's escape room challenges based on video games. In a couple of months, I'm going to be doing a officially licensed Resident Evil challenge room in Austin. Yep, they are doing the rounds. Chai Tai put me onto it. He turned me onto it, and it sounded interesting when he did it. And he let me know when it was available in Austin, and they are selling out fast.
Bro,
hint,
we're going.
hint, hint.
Did you not know that we're doing that?
I didn't actually.
We bought tickets.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
Cool. And
I wish it was bigger groups.
Yeah, unfortunately,
What is
the
it, like
group's
6?
6 people. Yeah,
Yeah, we
so-
booked 2 tickets, and then I think the following month, sometime in April, or actually no, in March, I'm doing a Zelda one.
We had talked about maybe doing that one.
Yeah,
by the way,
girlfriend and I want to take like just a weekend getaway every now and then, so we figure we're gonna go to Houston and do the Zelda thing out there and see what's up around there.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Houston?
Yeah,
Boring as hell.
yeah.
Yeah.
I went up there to see David, funnily enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I might actually meet up with him. Maybe.
Boring as hell. Anyway.
So that's gonna be my hype. My sweat. games, I guess. Time. More, not so much games. The games that recently have all been awesome. It's time. And that's actually my fuck you, I guess, as well.
Time.
Time is the big fuck you of
Fuck
everything.
you, Father Time.
Fuck you.
But besides that, my thank you, obviously, to you guys for having me over tonight. Appreciate it. It's
definitely.
been good to finally get a little bit off my chest about Yakuza 0. I could go on all day about
We should
that
have Nick
series.
off the show more often.
So, no, it's been really good fun. So, thanks for that. And, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. Well, thanks, Jack. Appreciate you being here. That's about it for our show this week.
Do you have any wrap-up niceties, Noel?
Wrap up niceties. How do you mean? Just like
Wrap
things
it
I
up.
wanted to say?
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say them.
Oh, I thought we were searching for things.
No. So thanks again, everybody, for listening. Don't forget, all our Game of the Year content is up. We still have our community top 10 video and community highlight, or top 10 highlights of the year videos coming soon.
Those are the best ones.
Well, no, I'm excited.
It'll be
I'm
worth
excited for those.
Wait.
I've mentioned it multiple times in the show before, but don't forget discord.gg/4Player. Come talk with us. Fun times to be had. And please don't forget, if you listen to us, if you like us, if you have an iTunes account, just go on over to iTunes, search for 4Player Podcasts, give us a little review.
You don't want any of that riffraff.
Yeah. We really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. It just gets our name out there. That helps, helps spread the joy. And I think that is about it for this week. So, thanks.
All right. Until next week.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.